All right, we are live.
What's going on? This your favorite fly guy, Charles Gregory. We Talk Weekly. Listen, everyone always asks me, they inbox me, email me, all type of things. We're trying to find your podcast. I mean, we can find your videos everywhere. All we have to do is go to wetalkweekly.com, or all we need to do is go to YouTube, or all we need to do is turn on Business Bully Channel, turn on Higher Than Seven, turn on. We can find you. But sometimes I just want to work out and I want to listen to your podcast. I want to hear the latest in sizzle, entertainment news, or good news and bad news, or just simply I want to hear interviews, some music, anything sports. I just want to listen. I don't know where to find your podcast. I said, you know what? It's real simple. All you have to do is ask the right person. Watch this. Hey Alexa, play We Talk Weekly's podcast.
Here's We Talk Weekly from Amazon Music. Here's where you left off in the latest episode. Olivia Jade Red Table Talk, Kevin Hart Backlash for Netflix special No F's Given, and more.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to We Talk Weekly's After the Talk. And I'm your boy Charles Gregory with the beautiful.
Classy Lady Sparkle.
See, I told you. It's not that hard, ladies and gentlemen. All you have to do is ask the right person. Ask Alexa. Look, I'm out here. Thanks for watching. Keep supporting. Keep subscribing. Keep telling people to chime in. We out here like last year. Hello.
We in the building. We Talk Weeklies After the Talk on WPPM of Pete, Philadelphia, 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies After the Talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful.
Classy Lady Sparkle.
We are here. Another show, another day. Oh, man.
Another
How
dollar.
was your day, Spark? How was your day, Spark? Man?
It's been a long, fulfilling day, C. And this is not the first time I saw you today. Saw you a little earlier.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, doing the work, putting in the work.
Yeah. So how you gonna forget the dollar part? Another day,
Another dollar. As you already
another
know.
dollar. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, we do things for love and labor, but we still have to live.
100%. No argument there.
Yeah, absolutely. But I had a fulfilling day. It was very informative. We had amazing people today on a panel talking about what a lot of people are talking about, artificial intelligence. Something,
Yeah.
an event you actually kind of put together as a
Yeah.
one man team.
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
all came to help, with the baby. However, you did a lot of that pushing and pulling by yourself.
Look, somebody just jumped. That's Monica. She jumped on. How was how was the workshop? Go and tell her how the workshop was. Answer the question, Spark.
Listen, Monica, it was amazing. Okay. I'm gonna tell y'all, if you just using chat, you behind the 8 ball, because you gotta use chat, you gotta use perplexity, you gotta use Claude. I learned about, was it LLMs,
Yeah.
NLMs? Yeah. And I know you're the guru, but I'm just, as the student, I'm letting you know what I learned today. And it was amazing. It was amazing. They talked about how the US is pretty much we're kind of like at the back of the line. A lot of places outside of the US are actually, way more forward than we are with innovation and everything else. Is that true, Chitsy?
That's true. And that's the problem. I think America has, and rightfully so, right? When it gets to um, the US is usually scared of new things, right? And it's a history of, the US, preying on people, so to speak, misleading people and using people, experimenting on people. So when certain things come up, especially big ideas, you have a lot of people who are extremely skeptical, right? And this whole AI thing, you know, people are very nervous about what AI can do. But one thing that I do, especially when I teach and do the lectures and travel around the country, I tell people, well, if you don't use it, the chances are you being misled is greater than you not, right? And so it's very important for you to at least have an understanding and background on what AI is, some of the things that it can do, especially with organizations understanding what their current workflows is and being solutions for them. This is how you can utilize AI to enhance or, do your business, and a lot of healthcare professionals are utilizing AI when it comes to the field, right? It's just, what are you using it for? How are you using it? And how is it supporting your current business? And what are the guardrails, right? And one thing that I always preach is it's called human in the loop, right? People tend to just say, I want AI to do everything for me. Well, when you do that, that's where the problems happen because AI can't think for you. But when you let it do that, it starts to fill in the blanks, right? That you didn't put in there. And so it's very important to stay connected to any AI models, any LLMs. Monica mentioned Manus. That's a extremely powerful LLM, Monica. This is something that I mentioned in the workshop today, in the lecture today. Manus is big, so is DeepSeek. So all of these are dynamic workflows, dynamic, language models that perform a job pretty good. One thing that I said in the workshop is, use it, have the intention on what you want to use it for and use it for that intention. Some are better than others, but depending on what you use it for, you can get the most out of it. Monica always say, so if the issues are the environment and its impact on water in particular, some of the issues, yes, 100%. Um, and that has been that's a legitimate argument, right? Um, two things can be true. It can be, AI can be helpful and it can be damaging as well, right? Um, they, as far as the environment, when we talk about, they said that about crypto, they say that about fast fashion, they say that about, farms, they say that about cows, they say that about everything, just we just have to be more responsible with the things that we do and be, again, intentional. And I think it's important for people like Monica or some of the people who were in the workshop to that are skeptics to have these committees to make sure that they put up those guardrails, right? Because if you don't have people that are skeptics that are holding people accountable for using such dynamic tools, then you will have the wild wild west, right? And so it's very
Mhm.
important for that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and we talked about that, Monica, with the issues on the environment.
Mhm.
Some of the questions that the audience posed were, how do we help our elderly people who don't really know, what this has become with the AI? They may know it on a smaller scale, but on a bigger scale, like, what like Charles just said, basically about the guardrails and things that they can do to protect themselves. But I'll say this, and you mentioned healthcare, which is my wheelhouse, Charles.
Yeah. Yep.
People don't realize that if you say, oh, I don't like AI has become part of the world where has helped. Laparoscopic surgery has now
Yeah.
become a higher for preventive measures of either chronic conditions or debilitating diseases. They have different types of machines like proton radiation therapy, where if you're getting radiation, this AI model has allowed it where the radiation could go in just where the tumor is and give the radiation and then exit without irritating any of the healthy tissues. So I just mentioned that to say that AI as a personal use that people may abuse it for may not be all that good, but there are a lot of times where AI can be helpful in, innovative therapy. Monica said, we are seasoned, not elderly. Yes, seasoned. And to that, Monica, what I also mentioned is that one of the audience members, which is my sister, is Karen. She had said about the seasoned people not really knowing about how to operate the things with artificial intelligence. And what I mentioned is, even though there are people in the community, sometimes libraries can do workshops, you have family members, that village of your nieces, nephews, grandchildren, who are able to come in to say, hey, let me show auntie how to use this, let me show unc, this is TikTok, or the different scams that could be prevented. And talked about the deep fake videos. Lauren Sizzle just joined, and it was an amazing video that she educated the people on. So, I mean, it can definitely be anything, if it's put in the wrong hands, can be manipulated. But if you have it and you have an understanding about it, it can definitely be beneficial as well.
100%, 100%. And while you're on that topic, it looks like our guest is here. Lauren, I want you to, since you brought up your video, I want you to give a perspective on kind of like you as a journalist and deepfakes and the video specifically that you released that's going around and making the rounds in terms of people watching. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's important that, especially when it comes to the general public, that they are educated on a lot of the deep fakes and the misinformation and disinformation that's put out there when it comes to artificial intelligence. Because particularly in that video, and when I saw that, I was just thinking, like, to the untrained eye, like somebody that's just sitting there watching this, that they're thinking that this is real. And then this stuff is shared, and once it's shared, that's the when the misinformation happens, because you're not intentionally trying to cause harm. If you're sharing it and you're trying to cause harm, that's disinformation. But if you're just sharing it, like, oh my gosh, look what happened, and you send it to a friend or somebody, and that person sends it to someone else, or you're spreading misinformation. But at the same time, too, you have to think, me just looking at both sides of the spectrum when it comes to the images that are portrayed in the video. You have law enforcement, and then you have people of color. So when you think about the history of those different dynamics, and when they come together and stuff like that, and I won't get all into that part when it comes to police brutality and stuff like that. But certain people, or it can lead to just incidents being things being incited that shouldn't be. Somebody may now all of a sudden want to target law enforcement because they think that this is real, and that they harmed a young Black kid, or vice versa, or something else. So you really want to be trying to, as We Talk Weekly is, doing and continuing to do, just educating the general public about the importance of, debunking a lot of this stuff that's out
Yeah.
here. Of course, there's
Media
great things.
literacy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's great things when it comes to AI, but then there's a lot of people out here that are using it to deceive people. So,
No
Agreed.
doubt. No doubt. No doubt. So with that said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to share after we have our guest on. I'm going to share the video that Lauren is speaking about, so you can kind of see when it relates to how things can be incited and the potential of what AI can do in terms of deep fakes. And so, without further ado, this is my favorite segment of the show. I get the opportunity to talk to the good old folks who's doing the work out there, right? And some of my favorite people we have on the show today, right? So, Spark, why don't you let me know who do we have today? Who do we have today?
I sure will. See, today we have Dr. Lindsey Beauboeuf. She is a board certified family medicine physician and founder of the Mozaïk Lifestyle Medicine in Atlanta, where she is restoring a more personal relationship centered approach to care through direct primary care. Inspired by her Haitian heritage, she also leads the Haitian Doctor Incorporation, promoting cultural relevant health education in the Haitian diaspora. Y'all already know what to do. Let's give a warm We Talk Weekly welcome to Dr. Lindsey Beauboeuf.
Hey, 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 how are you? How are you?
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for that introduction, Sparkle. I was like, is she talking about me? I think she's talking about me.
No, girl, look in the mirror. I'm talking about you.
Thank you so much. Yes. In fact, I am Dr. Lindsey. I am a board certified doctor in family medicine, and I do have a new practice in Smyrna, Georgia, which is in the Atlanta metro area called Mozaïk Lifestyle Medicine. And my goal in that practice is to restore trust and to bring back real relationship with patients. What we used to have, the doctor patient relationship, that's my goal. That's what I do there. And thank you so much for having me today. And thank you, God, for divine alignment. And I am happy to speak with you guys.
Fantastic, fantastic. You
Awesome.
know, what's interesting is that you talk about trust, and we've been talking a lot about trust, whether it be AI, whether it be journalism, whether it be news, whether it be like even the healthcare industry. And I want to expand on that idea in terms of trust. One of the things that I hear in medicine, especially as it relates to Black women, is, how they don't necessarily trust their physicians because they sometimes tell them like, look, I'm in pain, and the physicians feel, oh, you okay, you'll be okay. So when we talk about restoring trust, what does that look like for you, and how do you believe we can restore that, especially to some of the vulnerable communities?
Thank you so much for this question. I have to start by saying that I myself experience the lack of trust within the healthcare system as a doctor, right? And it was a reason for my burnout and a catalyst for me to start my practice, which is a direct primary care practice called Mozaïk, as I stated, and how to restore trust. We have to go back to the fundamentals. Guys, French is my first language, so bear with me as I butcher English, okay? We have to go back to what medicine used to be, and it is a real relationship. And just like every relationship, you need certain things to make it work. All of them run on time, access, communication, right? And in a traditional care system, you see your patient in 7 minutes. You don't have time to build trust. You don't have time to listen to what they need to say. You're just checking off a checklist. People don't have access when they have questions. They can't rely on their doctors to have the time to respond to their questions. So they turn to social media, where there's a lot of information and a lot of misinformation and a lot of disinformation. And that's what erodes the trust in the doctor. So, what I do to help build that back up is I listen. You cannot have trust when you don't have time to listen to people. I listen. I listen to people. I meet people where they are. I allow them to come as they are. They don't have to code switch. They don't have to leave part of their culture outside the exam room. And to me, that's the biggest thing, making sure that we're able to have that relationship again with patients, because without it, there's no real care.
Absolutely. Dr. Lindsay, I want to first just say thank you. Thank you because as a woman of color, a young woman, I think that that's what we like to see. We want our daughters, our grandchildren, we want them to see what representation looks like and that they can do it too. Because to aspire to be a doctor sometimes, depending on who the little girl is, sometimes, what's said to her is that she can't achieve such great status. So I want to first say thank you for that. But secondly, I heard what you were saying about how getting back doctor to doctor. I mentioned earlier that healthcare, I've been in healthcare for about 30 years now, front
Mhm.
office, back office. I mean, doing it all. And I've seen a lot of different changes in healthcare. But one of the things that you just mentioned is I don't see the doctor and the patient relationship anymore with the provider. And do you think that it's becoming even more invasive because of the shift of AI?
Well, I don't think it's because of the shift of AI. AI is a tool.
Hmm.
If you take a tool, it doesn't matter what the nature of the tool is, but it what's most important is the hand that handles it, right? I use AI in my practice. I use AI in my practice because it makes me more efficient because it helps me write my notes. But it doesn't tell me what's going on with the patient in front of me. That's the human touch. That's the relationship. So I don't think, to answer your question, I don't think that's the reason behind the breakdown. Honestly, really, I don't even feel like I should be saying this on air like that. But I think that we lost that trust when the system started putting profits before people.
Hmm, that value-based care method.
Yes, that fee for service and all that good stuff. And to me, there's hope. There's hope with direct primary care where you cut out the middleman and you it's straight to the source. It's my patient and myself in the room and nobody else dictating what happens between us. That's why I have hope.
Well, fantastic. Dr. Lindsay, I want to pull. This is a guest that's actually on the show, and she has a question for you.
Sure.
She said, "Why did you choose to open your practice in, is it
Smyrna.
Smyrna, instead of in your home country that could also be benefactors of your philosophy?"
Thank you so much, Monica, for this question. Um, the honest and total truth is that I can't go home right now. I am born and raised in Haiti, but Haiti's going through a lot and it's not
Mm.
safe for me or my family to be there. So I choose to root where I'm planted. And that's why I'm
Mhm.
practicing the way that I do where I live in Atlanta, Georgia. And that's why I picked Smyrna.
Mm, fantastic. You know, I look at doctors, I look at physicians, and oftentimes there's this question that I hear as it relates to how medicine is evolving, right? And it's the argument with, should we be using these medicines because it's big pharma, and are they keeping us sick so we can continue to pay for their medicines? What is your thoughts on holistic medicine versus kind of like big pharma medications, and is there a a perfect environment where we can use both, or both are beneficial? Like, what are your thoughts on
I love that you asked that question because,
that?
first of all, we have to define what is holistic medicine, right?
Right, right,
Because if we don't define holistic medicine, then we won't be able to say if there's a difference between that and big pharma.
right.
Holistic medicine to me means the medicine that takes into account the entire patient. I mean, their reality, where they live, their stress load, their family, their work, their physiology, everything. That's what I call holistic medicine, right? Their culture, their faith. Again, I'm a Haitian, so I grew up with bush medicine, really,
Mhm,
right?
right.
Teas
Mhm.
and concoctions and mascuti, which is a castor oil. And when I see my patients who are also Haitian, I don't say throw that stuff away. You need a pill. I embrace their culture with them, and I learn from it. I allow people to bring their whole self into the room. And I do the research to ensure that whatever they're doing is not causing harm to them, because I did take an oath. So
Right.
there's not a real separation between what holistic medicine is and quote unquote Western medicine. I don't know who blurred the line, or actually who created the separation, but
Mhm.
that's not my philosophy. And yes, there's a lot of chatter about doctors having a knee-jerk reaction, and before they know what's going on, they prescribe a medication. But that's not a problem of the medication itself. That's a problem of the system. It's a
Mm.
problem that shows you that the doctors doesn't have time to really investigate. We're scientists. We love to figure out, we love puzzles, but we can't solve a puzzle in 3 minutes. Now we have to resolve to doing what is easy, convenient, and will satisfy standard medicine. But that's not real. That's not how we do this. That's not how we were taught to do this.
Right.
Yeah. Dr. Lindsey, research has shown that people are living longer, but they're not thriving. They're living longer, but they're on medicines, medication. And you talked about holistic medicine, which I believe is kind of like a preventive versus like what when you take medication for it to be acute to, to get you back where you can do the preventive. Do you think that that research is accurate, that people are living longer but they're not thriving? It's more people in elderly homes and nursing homes. What can we do to help prevent that as we start to get older for the next generation?
So I feel like this question you're asking me is a question of quality versus quantity, the quality of the years versus the quantity of the years. And thank goodness science has made big strides to be able to give us more years. But in doing so, it didn't restore the human part of those years. And that's something that we have to do as people. So, yes, you can live longer and be in a nursing home, like you say, but being in a nursing home is not a, a sentence. It's the people there with you. Are they taking good care of you? Do people remember to be people, to take care of each other, to love one another? I think that's why people are not thriving. I don't think it has anything to do with the science or with the the profession. I think it has to do with going back to the roots of what makes people thrive, and it's community. That's what I bring in my practice. I try my best to bring people together, to bring to foster that community, because that's how people thrive.
Wow, I didn't think of it like that. It's more so like having a purpose, like you said, having community, having things to do, having that is a part of the thriving.
Yes,
Yeah, that
definitely.
makes sense.
Yeah. And what happens is we're so focused on results, right? That we forget the essence of it. We forget the thread that binds us all, because we're so focused on curing, we're focused on the lab numbers, we're focused on the price, the advancements, the science, the AI, all of that good stuff, which is meant to help us. But we were never supposed to forget who we are, you know
Mhm.
and
Right. The
we're meant to
laughter,
be
the
together.
bonding.
Yes, yes.
Hmm. Dr. Lindsay, what made you want to become a doctor?
I love this question. Oh my gosh, you're on fire. Uh, Honest truth, again, I never wanted to be a doctor growing up. That was not my plan. I wanted to bake, to make pastries, to have one of the biggest pastry shop in Haiti. But then when I was 8 years old, my grandfather the first love of my life, had a stroke, and I saw how he got sick and debilitated, and I felt so powerless because we were still in Haiti. We didn't have, a really good running healthcare system. We still don't. We're trying. And I saw how I lost my grandpa, and I felt so much pain that I never wanted anyone to ever go through that. And that's how I became a doctor. That's how it all started.
Are there any advancements in medicine in Haiti that um I guess are making some type of differences or changes there, or
So we're starting to, it's a ginormous
Mhm.
problem, right? And just like you attack any big mountain of an issue, you start piece by piece, little by little. And I really think that we are seeing a silent, quiet Haitian Renaissance, right? And there's a lot of chaos, a lot of pain in the country, but the people are not losing hope. They're not losing faith. People like me who are outside of Haiti, we're still getting together. We're still figuring things out. And the advance that you are asking about is not like a new vaccine or a new hospital in Haiti. That's not what it is. What it is this awakening of Haitian pride, because that's where you start. And that's how you rebuild a community. That's how you rebuild a country, is by loving it again. And I
Mm.
think that's the biggest advancement in healthcare in Haiti right now, is that people are remembering home, remembering how to love home, especially after knowing that we qualified for the World Cup. What?
Mm.
I don't even think my mom was born the first time Haiti went to the World Cup. And now we're seeing it, and my kids get to see it, and people that had to leave Haiti and to save their lives, they're seeing that too. That's amazing to us. And I think
Yes.
there's hope. And that's how you start over.
Yeah. I love the pride and the passion in your, in your voice when you're speaking about that. That's just amazing. And it just reminded me of, my aunt. She's no longer with us, but she would often travel over to Haiti for missionary work, and she dedicated her life to that, and she enjoyed it, and that was something that just made her just so happy, and she felt like that was her purpose in life. And that just made me think about how, like, there's people here that, or people around, that still want to do that type of work, and that philanthropy work and things like that. How do you think, like, people here, that don't necessarily have the means to, travel and support, how can they support in different ways?
Mm. That's 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 some that's something to think about. Um, Support can mean a lot of things,
Hmm.
right? And I think that one easy way to support efforts that are being done for Haiti is to find someone that resonates with you, right? And find their social media account and promote that account. Give them a like, a comment,
Mm.
reshare their story. It costs you nothing. It helps the algorithm to propel their message, and that's an easy way to do things. And now, if you
Mhm.
want to be a little bit more, generous, you can support giving your time. Everybody has a talent. Everybody has a gift. you can share that gift with someone who's working on a project that supports the rehabilitation and restoration of the Haitian community. You could do that. I mean, in the nonprofit arm of my mission, the Haitian Doctor, I welcome everyone to come and help however they can. If it's someone who wants to um, give a couple of hours filming social media for the Haitian Doctor, yes, please. If it's someone who consumes the content and finds that, hey, that's a really cool concept, share it with family. You don't have to be Haitian to share something you like on social media. That is support. So I hope that I answered your question.
Absolutely.
Thank
Yeah. No, no doubt. I want to bring it back to Haiti. Sock passe.
you. Yay!
you know, I gotta give y'all a shout out to Stevens, was it Stevenson Savar, something like that. He just did something that broke records and was amazing in the new the Winter Olympics. And so cross country skating, skiing, and he like did something that was unbelievable. First Haitian skier to do something like that. So that was pretty dope because it was someone who looked like us to do that, and he was from Haiti. So shout out to him, and you have to look him up. His name is Stevenson Savar. That's what his name is. Stevenson Savar. Really dope. So shout out to him. Monica has a couple more questions for you. Well, this is kind of like a statement. She said bedside manner says a lot to patients for them to feel comfortable and a feeling of worth. You have a lot of doctors out there or physicians out there who will come and act like as if you have no feelings. You can't feel anything. You have no emotions. You have nothing. You just supposed to lay there, get stuck, and that's that, right? I think there needs to be. I'm not a physician, of course, but there needs to be some type of training on like cultural competency. This is how maybe this culture responds to something, or this is how it feels when you act as if you don't care. Well, it's somebody who lost a parent or something like that, right? And so it's about identifying and seeing the patient that you're working with, and working with them at that point. What's your thoughts on that?
That is that's the whole purpose almost of Mosaic Lifestyle Medicine is culturally fluent care. Because
Yeah.
I have seen doctors who were training me, who probably I've seen in passing treat people not with disrespect, but in ways that probably would have made somebody not feel good, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
we also have to frame that narrative a little bit differently because I see a lot of it's like there's this I'm trying to find a word, this crusade against physicians, right? And we've seen it. We all watching the news. Not every doctor is a good doctor, right? And not everybody who goes to medical school has empathy, but also there are people who are neurodivergent in all fields,
Mhm. Mhm.
neurodivergent in all fields, including the field of medicine. So sometimes, yes, there are some really not great physicians out there. I'm not going to dismiss that. I'm not going to gaslight somebody who's had a less than good experience with a doctor who did not make them feel seen. But I also want people to have the lens of grace and give people a chance to maybe see that, okay, you're not supposed to treat me like this, but you did. I don't know why. I will tell you how I feel and I'll tell you how I wish you had treated me. Because
You know what?
everybody's learning from everybody.
I'm glad that you said that, and it makes me think of a video that has been circulating on, I believe, IG, where this physician was actually telling her members, her followers that this is how you communicate with a doctor if you need release, right? And so she was saying that there's, certain terminology that you use, or, if you feel like they're not doing their due diligence, you can say X, Y, and Z. When you're working with patients, do you, talk to them about, the expansion of, terminology that they should use when working with different physicians to make sure they get the care that they need?
It just breaks my heart that we have to resort to cheat sheets to give to patients so that they can advocate for their own care. Breaks my heart. It's a symptom of a misaligned system. But
Right.
yes, there are some keywords, especially for us Black women, women of color, immigrant women, women whose English is not their first language. There are certain keywords that we are forced to use in this system, so that we can get the care we deserve. Yes, I agree. And yes, I do that. When I send patients to specialists, for example, if I don't have a specific doctor that I'm sending the patient to, or because I can't control everything, if I'm sending someone to a hospital, I'm not there with them. So I do have to coach my patients sometimes on what to say so that they can be taken seriously. And that does break my heart that I have to do this. But until we're all able to do this right, we're gonna survive, because that's what we do, right?
That's
As a people, we adapt, we survive, and we thrive.
Wow. I love that you take that position. And so that's an excellent transition to say, what are your favorite tips or tricks that you can say to a young lady who's watching you and feel inspired about, the care that you give to, what could you say to them to make sure that they, say the right things to get the proper results? What would you tell them to say, or what are some key words, terms, and things like that? Yeah.
Well, keywords is a bit much because it depends on what the situation is. But what I would say to somebody who's listening to me right now is, remember, you're worth it. You deserve good care. Advocate for yourself. It doesn't matter if they think that you make sense. It doesn't matter if they think you are angry Black woman, angry Hispanic woman. It doesn't matter what they think. What matters is what you think about yourself and what you know you deserve. And I'm telling you, you're worth it and you deserve it.
That's what's up. No doubt.
Awesome. Doctor, I see behind you some very interesting, beautiful paintings. Do they have like a symbolicness to them, or tell us more about the paintings behind you?
Thank you. Thank you for noticing. These are actually paintings from our homes in Haiti. I am a avid lover of art, and especially Haitian art. My husband paints, his father is an artist, and I just I just love to surround myself with things that remind me of home. And I'm home right now. And
Yes.
this is the first room in our home. And this is our little gallery wall.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you for
fantastic.
sharing that.
Yeah,
My,
and
I
it's
have
like
a
we have a
question.
similar wall too in our reception gallery. We have the same thing. I love to expose my patients to culture. In fact, there's a study that says the more you get exposed to culture, the lower your rates of depression. So I'm like,
Wow.
well, if they're coming to the doctors, might as well expose them there and at the same time showcase my Haitian culture. So that's what I do.
That's
Fantastic.
awesome.
Hmm.
I was actually going to ask a very similar question that C asked. It was like the Henrietta Lacks thing about how women of color, just women in general, but specifically women of color, our pain level is not to truth of what we say. There was a story here in the Philadelphia area where a woman was in labor
Hmm.
and she went to the hospital or the emergency room, and they basically turned her away because they told her that she wasn't in that much pain. And the father of the child, that the unborn child, they winded up having the baby in the car. And it's so sad because she voiced it, she had an advocate, which is her husband. And we I think everybody has a story of something of that nature, because it actually happened to me, where we're telling them our pain level, we're saying how we feel, and they're not believing. And it's like, when those type of things happen, what do you do? Who do you call? It's like, if you get a patient advocate or the person within the hospital, they're usually the same people working for them, which they're not going to be the best of advocate. So I thank you for letting us know that unfortunately the misalignment is within the healthcare system. But I did want to mention one of the things that Monica had mentioned. She says, did you bring patients with you to your new practice, or are you starting from scratch?
Because of the nature of contracts in medicine and how you work in medicine, we are not allowed to take patients, right, with us. But nobody can tell the patients where to go for their care. So I I do have a couple patients, a few that followed me from my previous job. And yes, I am somewhat starting from scratch. Mozaïk has been open since and seeing patients since January 13th. So yesterday made it 2 months. And we are happy that we are surpassed it. We've surpassed the numbers that we projected to have as far as members. And it's all because of God. Really. It's nothing I'm doing. But just listening to what he asked me to do. He's my CEO, and I welcome people who want the type of care that is relationship forward, culturally fluent, and faith aligned. No matter what your background is, Mozaïk can be your care home. And we've been open for 2 months now, and it's been great.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to you. I have one more question before I let you go. This time flew. What is the legacy that you would like to, leave for, Mosaic and just you, period, in general, as it relates to your practice?
I want to show people how to do it in a way that makes everybody that engages with the healthcare system, everybody, every single person, I want to show how to do it to make them feel seen and embraced and cared for. That's the legacy I want to leave with Mozaïk. I'm not here to build something just to, how do young people say it, for clout, for fame.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
here to, Mozaïk is the first prototype of the way that I see care should be given. And my legacy is just to give everyone who truly cares about patients a blueprint.
Wow.
That's my legacy.
Fantastic, fantastic. I want to give you a round of applause. Round of applause. We can tell that you truly care. It's especially to the people who you work with. So I just want to give kudos to that and continue to wish you much success. Before we let you go, can you let everyone know how they can get in contact with you, find you, and all that good old stuff? Yeah.
Thank you so much for the round of applause, for the platform, for giving me a mic. And if someone wants to reach out to me, they can find me on social media at Mozaïk Care. It's Mozaik Care, CARE, and my own Dr._Lindsey. That's the full word doctor. And of course, you can always find us using our website, yourmozaik.care.
Fantastic. Round of applause. I'd like to thank you for coming to the show and We Talk Weekly. We always tell people once you come to the show, you're a friend to the show, so you're always welcome to come back. And make sure you like and subscribe so when your particular, interview come out, you can have your interview and you know when it airs. But I want to thank you for tuning in. And any last words for the people who's watching?
Last words. There. Let me think about this because I have so many words on my heart right now. Last word is you are worth it. You are loved. And keep your head up. It's all going to be okay.
There you go. You are worth it. You are loved, and keep your head up because it's all going to be okay. There you go. With that said, there's nothing else left to be said. I'm your boy, Charles Gregory, with the beautiful.
Classy Lady Sparkle.
And the beautiful. Lauren got hurt. Can she hear? All right, beautiful Lauren Sizzle and the beautiful.
Lauren Sizzle.
There you go. And the beautiful.
Dr. Lindsey.
All right, there you go. All right, y'all. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, we have another person with whom I have a tremendous amount of respect for. I can't wait to talk to this gentleman, Mr. Saul Bienenfeld. We'll be right back after this. Thanks, doctor. We really appreciate you.
Thank
You're
you,
a friend to the
doctor.
show.
Keep
Come
up
back.
the amazing work.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll be right back, y'all. Peace. And we're back. We Talk Weeklies after the talk on WPPM up Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies after the talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful.
Classy Lady Sparkle.
And the beautiful.
Lauren Sizzle.
So you already know what we got next. We have someone with whom I have a tremendous amount of respect for who's doing the honors.
I will do the honors. That was like an amazing. I just love talking to that doctor. She was really dope. It was just awesome. And now we got another awesome person that's about to join us. Saul Bienenfeld. He is a criminal defense attorney and a former assistant attorney with the Special Narcotics Bureau, holding a JD from Benjamin N. Cadeau School of Law. Saul now uses more than 20 years of courtroom experience to defend his clients. Y'all already know what to do. Let's give a warm We Talk Weekly welcome to Saul Bienenfeld.
Hi, hey, how are you, my friend? How are you?
I am so well. I am so happy to be here. It's great to see everyone on this wonderful Saturday night.
Fantastic. It's a pleasure to have you. It's a pleasure to have you. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We usually start with the question to our guests with how are you? How was your day? It's a lot going on in the world, in the country, and so we like to see your status. How you feeling today?
I'm doing well today. I had a very nice day. I went to synagogue in the morning. I had hanging out with friends in the afternoon. So, I can't let the world politics and what's going on in the world affect my Saturdays. I just like to chill out, relax, just between me and God, and have a good time that way.
Wonderful take. I know since you got on, Lauren is actually here. I mean, your field is what she does, and so we're super excited to have you here. But I want to start before we get into the deep questions, right? I want to start with, what actually got you in, law, because it's one of those things where most people get into it because something affected them where they feel like they want to get into it, or maybe they have a father and they, that studies law, and they're the progeny of that. So what actually started your journey into this field?
So it's a great question. So I always wanted to help people. I just didn't know whether I should be a doctor or a lawyer, but I needed to help people. And I think that the idea that me becoming a criminal defense attorney actually started with what happened to me in high school. When I was in high school, I went to high school in Brooklyn, but I lived out in Long Island. So I had something called a subway pass. In New York City, students back then had a pass. They didn't have to pay for the subway. They could walk right through. You show your pass, you walk right in. So I was talking to my friend walking down the subway, and I had a pass, and he didn't. And I walked through the exit, and he walked behind me, and he gets arrested. And I'm like, no, no, no. He didn't mean to not pay the fare. He has the money. He could pay the fare. I was telling the police officer, you know, just let him go. Let him go back and pay the fare. And the police officer who would not hear it. He was going to arrest him. That's it. He walked through the exit. He's getting arrested. And I worked so hard trying to free him. And I said, this is what I want to do. I knew it in high school. I said, this is what I want to do. This kid is wrongly accused. He totally did not mean to walk through the exit. He was just in conversation with me. And that's what happened. And I was like, I need to do this. I need to do this for a living. I need to defend people accused of crimes. And that's how I ended up.
Well, you in the right space, because I mean, this is what we do. We advocate, like our advocacy work as it relates to the unjust and targeting the marginalized people is how we lead as we go on this journey of We Talk Weekly and Cover. I mean, we always talking about, truth and justice and being honor, just honor alone. And I love the fact that, you talked about, especially your position as a criminal attorney, because your goal is to protect the people, right? And so, the advocacy work that you have been doing, do you feel that you're making, you're moving the needle, so to speak? You do one thing and then other issues pop up, right? And so it's a big conversation with, quote unquote ICE right now, right? It used to be police brutality. Now it's police brutality on another level, so to speak, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
So on an individual basis, I see myself moving the needle. There's no question about it. On a
Right.
global basis, I'm only one person. That's
Yeah.
why I belong to organizations like the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers and other
Wow.
organizations and the bar associations and other associations that as a voice, we could go ahead and influence Washington, D.C., and we can
Yeah.
influence Congress and we can influence our state legislatures as a group. So as an individual, certainly with one client, one on one, I am definitely making the difference. And as the group, I do see that the group can make a difference. There's an immigration department, part of the American Bar Association, that is dealing with the ICE issue. And as a group, they are making a difference. It's going to take a long time, obviously. It's not something that's going to happen immediately. It's not something going to happen overnight. But at least I'm part of it. And I know that I'm doing something to help.
Yeah, fantastic. Before I let Lauren jump in, because I know she's so ready. This is her field. But I do have one last question for you. Every attorney has this kind of aha moment, or a case that kind of sets the standard for them, or something that they never forget. What is that case for you?
Wow. um, a man was accused of raping his stepdaughter.
Ah,
And there was something in it that I knew he didn't do it. I knew that for whatever reason, she just made up that story. And I worked my heart out to make sure that he was not convicted. And I did such a good job that he was not even indicted. And the way I
wow.
did it was I had him present in front of a grand jury, that he actually spoke in front of the grand jury. Most attorneys won't even take that chance. And I was able to prove to the grand jurors, to 23 people, that she just wasn't telling the truth. And that is a story that will stick with me forever.
Wow.
Another story that sticks with me forever, and the reason it sticks with me forever is because the client is ever so grateful, is that a mother was accused of actually killing her own daughter. And again, this was this was a frame job. There was no question in my mind. It's a horrible accusation. She was totally innocent. I worked my guts out. I worked with the ME's office. I worked with my own medical expert, had my own autopsy done, and I was able to prove that she couldn't have done it. Every single year, 4 times a year, she writes me a letter thanking me, and she never puts a
Wow.
return address on it. She doesn't want me to write her back. She just gives me an update on what's going on in her life. And in the end, she was right. And none of this could have happened without you. So thank you so much. But
Wow.
it's like I've never seen a tremendous amount of gratitude from anyone. I mean, you could say thank you, maybe send me a bottle of wine. It's very nice. 4 times a year to write me a letter updating your life and thanking, at the last sentence is always the same. And none of this could ever happen without you. That's real gratitude. And this is going on already 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so just and thank you for joining the show today. So happy and excited to have you here tonight. I just, as you were talking about some of the cases that you've done and some of the people that you represented, I just couldn't help to think about a lot of the cases that we're seeing now. And I just wanted to know how difficult is, and this may not be in your case, but how difficult is an attorney's job when, if you think about the climate that we're in now and a lot of the things that are going on when it comes to um, um, the First Amendment rights and a lot of people advocating for their constitutional rights. How difficult is an attorney's job when some of the people they are now representing are fighting for democracy? Like, how difficult is that for an attorney?
It
Like,
depends on the
just to see
mindset.
people who, everybody, we're all entitled to our constitutional rights. And you see people now who are trying to fight and advocate for those, and they're finding themselves on the opposite side of justice.
Right. So I always say I don't defend the crime. I defend the Constitution.
Hmm.
Murder is bad. Rape is bad. I'm not defending murder. I'm not defending rape. It's bad. There's a reason people go to jail when they're convicted of that. But in order to get to that point, you have to follow the rules of the Constitution of this country, and you follow the rules of evidence. And if the government is not following those rules, I want to reveal it. I want to show it to people. I want to explain it to a judge. I want to show why the rules weren't followed. Because if the rules weren't followed in my case, they might not be followed in someone else's case. And that's wrong. So I need to protect the Constitution. I'm not defending a crime. And when an attorney has that mindset, my mindset is I'm not defending the crime. The crime is a terrible thing, but I'm defending the Constitution and therefore defending this individual. I have no problem going to sleep at night. I have no problem telling people what I do for a living. And when people challenge me on it, I explain to them very well. I said, please, my client is accused of this crime. I'm not defending the crime. I'm defending the individual and the Constitution. And that, I think, sets me apart from a lot of other attorneys who do get bogged down in it and who do get, caught up in it. And they're like, no, we have to change the law. We don't have to change the law. We have to make sure that the law is being followed properly.
Wow. So you said that you believe an educated client is the best defendant. Could you, explain that for our viewers here that are watching this, and why is it important to be an educated defendant? Because for people who are not necessarily in a courtroom or don't have that experience of being in a courtroom, or maybe they have but not necessarily like in it, thinking that they don't have any power. Why is it important to educate yourself as a defendant going into the courtroom?
Most people think they could do this on their own. If you needed surgery, you would probably go to a surgeon. You wouldn't say, "Oh, let me just go to the store, buy a scalpel. I'll go on YouTube and figure out how to do this, or I'll ask ChatGPT how to do this." You would go to a surgeon. But people, when it comes to lawyers, they think I could do this on my own. When it comes to the police and talking to the police, they think I could do this on my own, and they can't. So they need to be educated about these things. And the most important thing I need to educate most of my clients about is do not talk to the police. Do not talk to the FBI. Do not think you're going to talk your way out of this. You will not. The police came and knocked on your door at 7 o'clock in the morning, not because they wanted a cup of coffee, and not because they just picked your name out of the phone book. It's because you're a suspect. Whether you know it or not, no matter how kind they are and how polite they are, you're a suspect. You have information that they want to hear. And you may say it in the wrong way. Your body language might give off a sense of, I got something to hide. Don't talk to the police. Say, I have a lawyer. I want to call my lawyer. Once you tell a police officer or the FBI in this country that you have a lawyer, they must stop questioning you.
Wow.
That's the law. That's the law in our country. They have to stop questioning you. And if you say I have a lawyer, they'll say, okay, get the lawyer on the phone. They might want to talk to the lawyer, but they can't question you at all. So that's why I love educated clients. And I most especially love educated clients who actually listen to me, because unfortunately, there are clients who hear what I have to say and say, oh, that's okay. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm much smarter than the police. And then I visit them in the precinct 4 hours later.
That's
Wow.
funny.
That's awesome. I love that you said that. And I love that you're providing that education to your clients, because there's a lot of people who are, just stopped or racially profiled, and they feel like that they have to comply because they're stopped. And I think having the education and just knowing your rights and what you're able to do, I think that puts the power within their hands.
That's right.
You know,
I love that
you
you're
know what?
doing that.
Before I know that Spark has a question, but while we're on it, I do have a question, right? Because you say that what should, because I think this is a great time for you to give like a quick little tip. If someone is stopped, our mayor here don't call it stop and frisk, she call them Terry stops,
Right.
right? And so what should we do if we felt like we are profiled and stopped by the police as a stop and frisk? What should someone do?
So the most important thing is to be polite and not to be aggressive. Um,
Mm,
the next thing is to understand that the only information that you have to give a police officer is what's called pedigree information, which is your name, your date of birth, your address. That's it. I mean, sometimes they ask for social security number. You really don't have to give a social security number. In some cases you do, some cases you don't. But all you need to give is your pedigree, name, address, date of birth. Okay. Any other question, you don't have to answer that question. I want an attorney. I'm not, you know, the most interesting thing is when a police officer pulls you over for speeding, the first question they ask is, do you know how fast you're going? Right away they're going to try to mess you up. Oh, no matter what you say, if I say I was going the limit, they have a radar gun that says you weren't, that you're lying. If you say
mm,
I was speeding, I'm sorry, they have an admission that you were speeding. So the first thing you should say to the police officer is, I'm not going to answer that question. If you want my pedigree information, I'll give it to you. You have to give over your license, you have to give over the registration for the car and then your insurance, and that's it. Because we have a license, a privilege to drive in this country, not a right. So we have to prove that we have that license. But that's it. No other question should ever be answered. And the police always do the same thing. Do you know how fast? Do you know why I pulled you over? I'm not going to answer any questions. I'll give you my information, but I'm not going to answer any questions. When a police officer stops you
wow.
for a Terry stop, a stop and frisk like we have here in New York, and they actually want to touch your physical body, right? The instinct that a person has is, why are you stopping me? What are you looking for? What did I do wrong? And it's, you want to challenge the law, which is fine. I understand it. I understand it's a natural instinct. But if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to hide. And the only thing that they're allowed to do, if they have reasonable suspicion, is to give you a pat down. And that's it. They can't even go into your pockets unless they have more reasonable suspicion that they feel a gun in there, which is very rare. Okay. So the frisk, they have to record it. You have a right afterwards to do a FOIL information, freedom of information law, to get a copy of what they wrote down. And if you want to bring a lawsuit because you think that you were unlawfully stopped and unlawfully frisked, go see a civil rights attorney. You probably have a good case. You might get a couple of $1,000s in court because you were stopped and racially profiled, which is
Wow.
totally absurd in this day and age.
Yeah, and real quick, how is reasonable suspicion defined?
Ah, an articulate reason, so that you have to speak the reason why you suspect this person was either committing a crime at the time or committed a crime in the past. All right. So you have to spell it out in words why the person committed the crime. And it has to be reasonable. So, in other words, if I have over the radio that somebody in a red jacket with a black hat walking down the street just robbed a lady, and I see you with a red jacket and a black hat, is that reasonable? Is it not reasonable? Case law goes both ways. Okay. It
Right.
depends how popular red jackets are. It depends how popular black hats are. Okay.
Mhm.
The combination, how popular is the combination? But it may be reasonable, it may not be. That's where a good defense lawyer comes in and says, this was not reasonable because 500 people were wearing red jackets and black hats that night. It wasn't
Mm,
enough of a description.
wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that. Go ahead, Spark.
Um, so I wanted to read one of our guests that's here virtually, Monica Allison. So she says, she has a question. She says, I run the Haddington Participatory Defense Hub in West Philadelphia. Why is it so difficult for community to support families and advocate for accused loved ones? Defense attorneys are good for saying they don't need community. Can you give your
Well,
input on that?
it's unfortunate that people aren't supporting people accused of crimes because an accusation is not a conviction. A family member needs family the most when they're just accused of a crime. That is when the family should really stick up for that person and help that person and not shun the person. What happens is family members constantly shun somebody accused of a crime. You get arrested, that's it. Don't talk to my kids, don't come to my house. That's when the time the person needs the people the most. And defense attorneys sometimes work more as social workers than defense attorneys, and at least in my practice, to explain to the family, this is just an accusation. We're going to get through this. You know, you should treat the person like you treated the person all along. Just because he was arrested or just because he was indicted doesn't make him any different than he was last week. He's the same person. And if you loved him last week, you should love him again now. And hold your judgment because
Right.
people need support after an arrest and after indictment more than ever. And the support just should not come from me, the defense attorney. It should come from his same community. Churches should not throw people when they're at crimes. Synagogues should not throw out people when they're accused of crimes. They should stand up and rally for them because I have so many clients that are innocent that are accused of crimes.
Mm.
And I have to prove
I,
it.
I have one other question. I didn't read your entire bio. It's very impressive. But in your bio, you start off as a prosecutor? I believe you had like 98% conviction rate, but now it's basically on the other side. Can you talk more about that and what made you, want to
Sure.
switch?
I knew I wanted to see both. I knew that I wanted to do criminal defense, but I wanted to see the other side first. So after law school, I had a great opportunity to work for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. And when I met with Robin Morgenthau, who was the DA at the time, he asked me the first day came into the office. He called me up to his office. He says, "What do you want to do here?" I said, "I want to do trials." He said, "Okay, by the time you get back to your room, or back to your office, there'll be a trial on your desk." I was like laughing, like I just graduated law school. Can I give me a trial? And sure enough, he gave me a trial. And the nicest things about being a DA, especially in New York, is you have total autonomy over your case from start to finish. From the time they were arrested and they come into what's called ECAB, which is an early case assessment bureau, the DA, even one who just graduated law school a couple of months ago, has the right to say, no, I'm not going to prosecute this case. And if he does prosecute the case, that same DA, assistant DA, gets a chance to put it into the grand jury if it's felony and gets a chance to try it. From the beginning to the end, it's the same person. So I loved the fact in that office, I had the autonomy over these cases. And I only had one job to do, and that was to do justice. So if I felt the police officer was lying to me, I would tell him right away, I'm sorry, I don't believe this case. Go release your client. And that was
Mm.
it. And I was able to do that. And I've done that a couple of times where a police officer would come in and I felt that the evidence just was not strong. I said, we're not going to arraign this person. Go ahead. I'm going to what's called DP the case, which is decline to prosecute the case. You go ahead, find him and release him from the system. And then there were times where, no, it was clear cut evidence that the person committed the crime. And I took that case through to trial. So
You know,
I wanted that experience. I had that experience. I knew it was a 3-year commitment. I stayed for 3.5 years. And I'm very grateful that I did because I was able to see it from the inside. And once you could see it from the inside, it's a lot easier when you're defending cases because you know everyone in the office, you know how they act, you know the good players, and unfortunately there are some bad players, and you have everyone's number, so to speak, and you could just go ahead and help your clients and just concentrate on helping people accused of crimes.
you
What
know,
would
I go ahead, Lauren.
no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, 'cause I was just going to say, that sounds very familiar to a position that our DA in Philadelphia, Larry Krasner, kind of takes, right? But I'm curious to know your position on the idea of being soft on crime, right? And so we used to have a DA, Lynn Abraham, where I mean, literally, it appeared that she just didn't care. Lock them up, throw them up, throw away the key, right? But then you have someone like Larry Krasner come along, and it appears that there's more, he understands the nuance, right? That there's shades of gray. It's just not they did this, throw him away, lock him away the key. And he gets in my opinion, he gets a lot of pushback and vitriol because he believes that there is a check and balance, right? Now, I don't want to say I'm procrastinator, but what I will say is that it's good to see that people are accepting the other pieces of the puzzle versus the black and white piece. With that as context, what are your thoughts on, this idea on being hard on crime to deter versus uh the understanding that again there are shades in gray and let's put them through the due diligence because that's what our system is here for.
Yeah, I believe that police officers and district attorneys need that balance a lot, and they need to understand the balance. And not every case needs to be prosecuted. There are defendants, and I'm going to call them defendants, or let's call them arrestees. There are arrestees who do not need to go through the system to learn their lesson. And you could tell which ones are which. You could. You don't have to put everyone through the system and give them criminal records for the rest of their lives. Some of them can be rehabilitated if necessary, okay, based on going to different programs. And sometimes you're better off not prosecuting a case, telling them you have to complete this program, show me a certificate of completion, we won't prosecute you. I would much rather see that than to see everyone being going through the system, because first of all, the system can't handle it. We don't have enough judges. We don't have enough court offices. We don't have enough courtrooms, to handle all the arrests that might come in. So they really need to be you want to call it soft on crime, call it soft on crime, but it's more being more particular of who is going to be prosecuted. Not everyone who's committed a crime in the eyes of the police officer needs to be prosecuted. That's the bottom line.
Fantastic. Go ahead, Lauren. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, as a assistant district attorney, or even as a defense attorney, what would you say was, I guess, the biggest case where you felt the most, I don't want to say, disappointed, or you didn't, get what you wanted. What case was that? If you could talk about it.
Where I didn't get what I wanted. That's interesting. It actually probably was when I was an assistant DA in the Special Narcotics Bureau. I had a defendant who was accused of having, I think it was 25 pounds of marijuana. Okay. And because it was 25 pounds, it was a major felony, and he's facing 10 years in prison. And I tried my best to get the defense attorney to plead it out where he could only do a year in prison. And he wouldn't, and I had to try the case. And I tried the case. And at sentencing, I basically didn't say anything. I said, Judge, do whatever you have to do. I didn't want him to do 10 years on a marijuana case, but I have no choice. I'm a district attorney, right? And I'm an assistant attorney. I have to follow the laws of the people. So I said, Judge, I'm leaving sentencing up to you. I'm making no recommendations whatsoever. And I assume the judge understood that meant that whatever the minimum is, you could give him. All right. And the defense attorney did a nice job at sentencing. And then the judge gave him like 12 years, more than the minimum. And I was like shocked. And he said, okay, can I hug my son before I go? And the judge was like, it's up to the court officers. And the court officers were like, no. And I stepped in. I said, just a second. I said, please let him hug his son. I said, he's going away for 12 years. I said, I don't know when they're going to be able to touch again. And his son was like years old at the time. I said, we're in the courtroom. You surround him. Let him hug his son. I mean, how long? You know how long? That's like over 30 years ago. And I'm still thinking about that. I'm still thinking about that hug today. And it was, wow. And it was, I don't want to say, oh, it was marijuana, no big deal, but it was marijuana. It was a lot of marijuana, but it was marijuana, and it still affects me today. Remember the court officers not wanting to let him hug, remembering the hug, remembering him walking away, remember his son crying. All those things affected me, and they still affects me today.
Wow. And we have all these dispensaries everywhere.
And now it's 100% legal. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to know
Yeah.
that, some of those cases now like that, they're getting, the rehabilitative
Right.
programs, or the
Decriminalization.
yeah, yeah, they're being offered those
A lot of early release. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, short sentences, and
So
it's
you
just
mentioned
mm.
something about the judge. So with that being said, from all of the experience and the time you spent in the courtroom, who really has more power? And when I say most power, and I mean this from a layman's term, but let us know, is it the judge? Is it the prosecutor? Is it the system itself? Where does that lie? And I know there's isolated incidents, but not in totality, but just again in the layman's term, who holds more of the power with the decision making?
The judge. Always the judge. Because the judge is always deciding what evidence is allowed to be coming in, what evidence can come in. And there's so many, we say he's the judge of the law and the jury's the judge of the facts. But the truth is, if the jury's not getting all the facts, so the judge is controlling it. So the judge has all the power in that courtroom because he's making the decision what the jury could hear and can't hear. So it's always the judge. The prosecutor might be deciding how to charge something, how much of a level to charge it, whether to charge it or not. I hear that, but once they're charging it, and I'm coming up with evidence that's not being allowed in for whatever reason there is, all right, that's the judge basically telling me, Saul, I want you to lose.
Yeah. Wow.
Not giving any type of am I for or against, but it just made me think about the OJ Simpson trial. I don't know why, but when you just said all of that, it made me think about what took place during that time. So, all right, thank you for your answer.
It happened during the Sean Combs trial. It's happened during the Alexander Brothers trial. It's happened a lot. It's been happening a lot recently also. There's a lot
Wow.
of evidence that did not come in during the Alexander Brothers trial that really should have come in.
Wow. Wow. If the gloves don't fit, you must have quit, huh?
Yeah.
No. So I have a question for you. And this time went so fast. And I love that you're on here, and you are the type of guest that I would say come back. Make sure you come back so we can talk a little more because there's so many issues that come up every day, right?
You know how to
That we
find
can,
me.
yeah, yeah,
I'll
you
be happy
gotta
to come
do.
back.
So, with is there something that you think of and say to yourself, like, wow, I wish I would have known this then? That if you know now, you would do differently. What is that one thing that if you say to yourself, I wish I would have known that back then, that you know now?
It's such an amazing question. It's like we have mind reading going on here. Um, I have a client that I begged him not to talk to the police, and I begged him not to, discuss this case, and I told him everything except for one thing, and I feel crazy that I didn't tell him this. So he is accused of having child pornography on his phone, and the way he was caught was he was leaving the country, and a Homeland Security officer stops him and says, "Can you give me your phone?" And he gives him the phone, and the Homeland Security officer says, "What's your password?" And he tells him the password. You
What?
do not have to give the password. Now, I knew this, but I didn't tell him, if you ever ask for the password, don't give it. You don't have to give it. So I want all
Mm.
your audience to know you do not have to give the password to your phone. I mean, you might be delayed and you might miss your trip, okay? And they might be very upset about it, but you do not have to give the password to your phone. It is your protection. It's your First Amendment right. All your secrets are on your phone. You do not have to give that password. And I didn't tell him that. Unfortunately, he's
Mm.
in jail right now. And I'm not saying that he wouldn't be if he didn't give the password, because they probably have ways to break into the phone, but at least it would have been made it a lot more difficult for the government to do so. So I want your whole audience to know, I want the whole world to know that if you're stopped at an airport or at a border and you're asked for the password of your phone, you do not have to give it. That's it.
Wow, that's such great information. I didn't know that. Most people aren't. I think it happens because most people are intimidated with people in law enforcement, right? They tell
Right.
them to do something and they just automatically do it. So it's good to know. I'm gonna just say you gotta contact my attorney. Call Counselor Saul Bienenfeld. You don't talk to me. That's funny. That's amazing, amazing, amazing. Is there something that you feel that you didn't have the opportunity to talk about today that you want, the community and people who's watching to know?
I just want to repeat: don't think you're smarter than the police. You're probably not, although you might think you are. And if you want me to tell you are privately, I'll tell you are privately, but you're not. And always ask to speak to an attorney if the police are going to come and talk to you about something. You might as well have a professional who does it every day, 24 hours a day, handle these things than try to handle it on yourself, because you can't. All right. No one has successfully talked their way out of a conviction by talking about themselves. That's why people hire attorneys, especially ones who do it for a living all day long. And don't hire a real estate lawyer for a criminal case. Hire a criminal defense lawyer. Because I see that also.
You know what? That made me think of one thing. When someone is being detained, right? Or it's the question of being detained, right? How does that actually, because someone could say, okay, well, pull over, get out the car. And I guess you're supposed to say, well, am I being detained? Am I being arrested? What is the format, or what do you say one should do when that happens? If they're being pulled over, if someone is potentially stopping them, how should they react?
Comply and keep your mouth shut. That's the best advice. Don't resist arrest don't resist detainment, whatever it is, but don't answer any questions. If it's a driving situation, all right, so it's a little different, because again, we have what's called a license to drive. We don't have the right to drive. So if we have a license to drive, we have to follow the rules of the road, which include not driving drunk. So if the police officer wants to do a field sobriety test on you, you should really comply. There are times where I tell people not to comply. It depends how drunk they are. But, in general, you should comply. It probably won't help your case because they think you're drunk anyway. But at least it's being videoed, and we could watch it afterwards, and we could cross-examine the police officer on it if it's questionable, right? He missed 3 steps. No, he really missed only 2 steps. Here's the video. And you could win those cases as a defense attorney. So comply, but don't answer questions, except for pedigree, like I said before.
Now you bring
One
up
last
being
question.
video. All right, I got you, Spark, but I just want to finish this part. So in terms of being videoed, right? What are the civilian rights to video? Some say, well, I heard a cop say you can't video me, put your phone down, or I take the phone. What are the rights to someone who feels that in order to protect themselves, they must video an occurrence?
So you're allowed to video the what's happening to you. There's no question about it. The police officer is videoing it usually because he's got his body cam on, so he's videoing it as well. The question is, where are your hands? The police officer always wants to see your hands, and if they need to put your hands behind your back because they're arresting you, what are you going to do with the camera? What are you going to do with the phone? So it can't interfere with the arrest or the detainment process, but you are allowed to video.
Go ahead, Spark.
My last question, Saul, is what about memorandum rights? Do you have to have the officer read them? If they don't, are they compliant? Is that still something that needs to be said by an officer if you're being arrested or not?
So Miranda rights only comes in if there's going to be what's called custodial interrogation. So you need 2 things. One is you need to be in custody. And how is that defined? That's defined as I am not free to leave. Okay. I don't have to be in handcuffs. I don't have to be in a locked office. I don't have to be in a jail. I'm not free to leave. And I reasonably believe I'm not free to leave. So if 4 police officers with guns are surrounding me, I reasonably believe I can't leave. So now I'm in custody. And then there has to be something called interrogation. Interrogation is very simple. It's a question. Okay. So even a question of, it might not be as subtle as, did you rob the bank? It could be something as, were you on, Smith Street at 2:00 in the morning last night? That's a question. Okay. So if there's going to be custodial interrogation beforehand, there must be Miranda rights, Miranda warnings. And the Miranda warnings are, like we all saw on TV, you have the right to remain silent. And I tell people, please use it. Right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you. It won't be appointed to you until you're in court. So if you need one beforehand, you better have one in your back pocket. Okay. Yeah, and anything you say can or will be used against you, and it will be used against you. Anything you say, whether you say I wasn't on Smith Street or I was on Smith Street, it will be used against you. So you're better off not saying a word except for I want an attorney. And do not answer questions. All right. So Miranda warnings. But if the police officer doesn't want to ask you any questions and just wants to take you into custody, they don't have to. They don't have to Mirandize you. They don't have to give you your rights because they have no plans on asking you any questions. And when they don't plan on asking you any questions, they take you. They put you in the police car. They take you to the precinct. They fingerprint you. They photograph you. They ask you pedigree information, and they process you. And that was the whole thing. They're not going to ask you questions. There's no investigation going on.
Wow.
I have a question, a final question as well. What advice could you offer to some of, I guess, some of the people from, I guess maybe immigrant communities, those that are, um, being stopped or just in fear of being stopped because now we have some cases where defendants are not showing up to court, because of fear of being going in and not coming out, and those things like that. And now it's like being stopped. You have some law enforcement agencies where they are wearing masks and they're not necessarily complying with those federal law enforcement standards and regulations that they should be doing. What advice would you offer to these, to people in general who are just in fear of their safety and, just being apprehended?
Yeah, the immigrant community needs a lot of more education, and they need to understand what their rights are. If they are stopped on the street by somebody from ICE, let's say, or Homeland Security, whatever it is, they don't have to answer questions. They're in America. You, whether you're a citizen with a green card, whether you don't have a green card, you're in this country. You're in this country and you have rights like everyone else in this country, and that is to remain silent. So if somebody stops you and says, "Where are you from?" look at them and say, "I don't want to speak to you. And if you want to speak to me, call my lawyer." And I believe the immigrant community really should get together and hire 1 or 2 lawyers, that everyone should have their card, their phone number, and say, "This is my lawyer," whatever his name is. This is my lawyer, call him. I'm not discussing anything with you. All right. And if I'm free to leave, I'm going to walk away now. And if I'm not free to leave and you're detaining me, what's your reason? What's your reason to detain me? Go ahead and detain me, but I'm not talking to you. They have to have reasonable suspicion to stop people, and they have to have a reason to detain people. And most of the time, they don't get that reason until after you open your mouth and you talk to them. And you say, I'm from another country and I don't have a green card. And, well, you're here illegally. Bam, turn around, but let's put on handcuffs, and that's what happens because they don't know their rights. And their right to remain silent is a right with everyone in this country. And, whether you're a citizen or not, that's it. You have a right to remain silent. Don't give them a reason to put you in handcuffs. And education is such an important thing, especially with the immigrant community, especially with what's going on in terms of communities where ICE is coming off of vans, like you said, with masks on, which is ridiculous to me, okay, that they're covering up their faces, okay, and stopping people randomly and questioning them, okay? What, because the person's brown, because the person's black, you're questioning them, all right? Why am I not being questioned when I walk around the street? Why did you just stop me? How am I different? I'm the same human being as the other people. Why wasn't I questioned? And it's wrong, but the people need to be educated not to talk to them.
Yeah. Just be quiet. Stop talking. People talk too much. Stop talking. Stop talking.
Exactly.
Bottom
Stop talking and ask for a lawyer.
Stop talking and talk about a lawyer. All right, I'm gonna get to this chat real quick before we end because a few people have some questions. I'm not familiar with this. Maybe you do, counselor, but do you handle PCRA cases? I have Finley letter question. I'm not sure what that means. Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not familiar with it. Sorry.
Okay. All right. No doubt. Attorney, let me see. It was another one in here. Yeah, she was talking about restorative justice. We talked a little bit about something, and Shanita said just comply. Pretty much, right? Just be quiet.
That's
Don't
100%.
Yeah,
Bravo. You got it.
Yeah, I think
STFU.
STFU. I never understood, right, the idea of fighting the police when you're detained like that, because it just gives them a reason to do more, or to be more aggressive, to say that, oh, you did this, so now I got a reason to shoot you or something like that. Just comply, X for attorney. That's my belief. And yeah, we have to just do better in the community. I do think, however, that if law enforcement had a better relationship with the community, a lot of that wouldn't be happening. And it's because you have two forces literally that don't like most police already, which all police aren't bad apples, right? It's only a few. But the perception of the police that a lot of the community have is that they're already bad, right? And so if you have these two forces that's saying, okay, well, I'm already profiling this person, you're a black guy, you got a black hat on and a red jacket, then you must be. And I'm already saying on your side, well, you're the police, you're gonna already profile me. You have two opposing forces hitting bumping heads from day one. And so I think that there needs to be an order, and I think this is what Monica was kind of saying. There needs to be this idea of restorative justice. How can we fix the issues that we have had between law enforcement and the community? How can we fix that and form better relationships? And I guess I'll end with that question with you, counselor. What do you think could happen to restore better communications, better relations between law enforcement and the community?
We need more what's called community policing, where the police officers become part of the community. Not just that they're walking into the bagel stores and the coffee shops and getting free donuts and know who the name behind the counter is. They need to know who the customers are. Walk into that bagel store, walk into that coffee shop, walk into the donut shop, get your free coffee, and talk to the customers and say, "Hi, my name is Officer Jones. What's your name?" "Oh, you're Monica. You're Louise. You're John. Where do you live? What's going on? Do you like playing baseball? What team? Who are you rooting for in sports? I have 4 kids, 2 daughters and 2 sons. What do you have?" Community, make it real, not this power that is above you. It's an equal person. It's a regular equal person, whether the person's a police officer, a fireman, garbage man, or whatever it is. Okay, it's an equal person. Humanize the police, make them part of the community, so that somebody on the street, an 11-year-old, a 10-year-old, knows, oh, the name of the officer over there, he's Michael Jones. I know who he is. He's a nice guy. He talks to me when I'm waiting for the bus. But what happens is these police officers are in cars. They're not looking to talk to anyone. They're just looking to drive around and run to calls, and that's it. And they don't care about who the actual people are. They're too busy with what's going on the radio, in terms of radio calls, where they have to get to a call, rather than saying, you know what, I have time now. There is no radio call. Let me go ahead and meet the people. Let me walk into a school. Let all the students of the school know that I'm the police officer who patrols these 5 blocks that your school is on. That I'm the police officer who patrols your neighborhood. And by the way, if I'm not, let me introduce you to who is. I want you to know the name. I start with names. What is the name of the police officer I'm sure that none of you know the name of the police officer who patrols your neighborhood. No, none of us know. I happen to know because I talk to them. I see them. I talk to them. I know who they are. Okay. I know them by face. They know me by face. I tell them to watch my house when I'm going away for a weekend. But I'm very unique. I'm very different. People need to know who the police officers are in their community. And nothing's wrong, by the way. It doesn't have to be just the police officers talking to the community. It could be the other way around. The community could walk into the precinct and say, "Hi, I live on Main Street. I'd like to know what the names of the police officers who patrol my neighborhood are. I'd like to meet them. I'd like to say hello to them. Maybe I want them to come into the house if they need a cup of coffee. If they need to use the bathroom, they could use my house. They could use my apartment. They should know that I am a friendly person. And if they need to use the bathroom, knock on my door anytime. You could use my bathroom."
Wow, fantastic. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Really appreciate you, counsel, for coming on. One thing we say on the show again is once you come to the show, you're a friend to the show, so you're always welcome to come back. But I want everyone, especially if you're in the New York area, how can someone get in contact with you, find you? If they get pulled over, they need to reach you real quick. How can they contact you?
So the easiest way is to go to my website. It's www.bienenfeldlaw.com. So that's my last name, as you see on the screen, LAW at the end of it, .com. You could find me on all my social medias at Bienenfeld Law. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. And you could always call my office, and you could be directed to me through my service anytime. I would love to talk to you.
You know what? Real quick before you end, is there one thing? Is there a misconception that people have as it relates to law or law enforcement? Is there one misconception that that people tend to have as it relates to just their rights?
As their own rights, yeah. People
Yeah,
believe that they don't have any rights, and people think that they're smarter than the police, and people think that they could challenge the police. And you mentioned before, like, how come people, start up with the police rather than just comply? And the answer is very simple. It's a human nature. You
yeah.
you think that I did something wrong. I know I didn't do anything wrong, so I'm going to prove to you I didn't do anything wrong by not complying with what you want me to do. That's not the right attitude to have. Let's deal with that later on down the line. We could even deal with that in a civil lawsuit against the police officer later on the line. But the first thing to do is comply and STFU, like the listener said.
Just shut up. Be quiet. No doubt. Well,
Shut up
again,
and call Saul. That's what I tell people.
shut up and call Saul. I like that.
Awesome.
Shut up and call Saul. All right, we gotta talk to you a little later. See what you can send. Maybe put some links and stuff, and we'll talk so people can get in contact with you if they're in that area. We really appreciate you for coming on the show, and yeah, we'll be reaching out again. Thanks for coming on, and we really appreciate you.
Pleasure. Thank you so much. It was great seeing everyone.
You too as
Thank
well.
you.
All right, y'all. So don't go anywhere. We got more coming up. I'm your boy Charles Greg with the beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
and the beautiful,
Lauren Sizzle.
and my brother.
Saul Bienenfeld.
Make sure y'all reach out. Y'all, we'll be right back after this. Take this. If you're a renter, listen to this.
So that is our rental improvement fund. The loans can go up to $100,000 for the properties. Okay. High overviews. Just want you to know. So if you are a small landlord, you can use this. This loan is used to help with things to keep the property healthy and safe for your tenants, such as upgrading the electrical system, storm doors and windows, new heaters, lead abatement, hardwire sprinkler systems, those kinds of things. That's what you can use this for.
Wow. So there you have it. So listen, if you're a renter, ladies and gentlemen, that's one of the things that I would say, like, listen, you have rights also, right? It's one of those things where, everyone has rights. Some people feel like, well, how come, people who renting feel like they have all the rights? Well, renters have rights too. They got resources too. I think you just have to do your due diligence to find out what's actually out there for you to serve your place, to serve your position. So you just got to do the work, right? And so that's what's great about We Talk Weekly. We give you the opportunity to learn some of the things that's out there, what's actually going on out there. And it's just one of those things. Yeah, for sure.
There's rights on both sides.
It's rights on both sides. That's right. That's right. I think the problem then becomes if it feels like one has more rights than the other. That's where the problem then begins, right?
Yeah, I did want to I guess kind of go back to what Monica Allison was saying when she mentioned the PCRA cases, and those are the post conviction what is it, post conviction relief act, and those are the cases that when someone wants to file post conviction relief act to either file a motion to have something, maybe a sentence overturned or something like that, or any type of thing. And I know she did mention the Turner Finley letter, and I guess just a question about that. And I saw a lot of those cases, you know, in my time as law enforcement. And I know that they were doing a lot of those cases, like at the end of, they would, some of them, I guess it depended on what it was, you know, if people were filing motions, especially when it came to probation. There was a lot of PCRA cases. You may see that if somebody's like maybe sentenced to a homicide or a murder case, and they're, you know, have a certain amount of filings that they can do. I'm not sure what her specific question was when it came to that, but that's what she was trying to ask.
I never even heard of that. I'm glad that you brought that up. We had to do more research and digging on that. Monica, if you're watching, let's talk. I think there's information that needs to be put out there to the people that people don't know about, and there's always something out there that we don't know about that we should be knowing about, and that the community.
Well, I think as an attorney, I think he should know about that part.
Right.
He may have not known the acronyms. That's what I was going to say.
That's the thing, is the acronym.
Nah, he should know.
Well, is it different I mean, he's not in Philadelphia. Do they have,
unless it's called something different there?
That's what I'm thinking. It's probably different there, because if he's an attorney, he don't know. It's a reason because for that. You know, it sounds like
he's been if it's called something different in New York, it could be possible.
And he's been practicing law for so long. Yeah, it could have been the acronyms.
Yeah, but the motions and that filing, he definitely knows what that is. There's no way he cannot know it.
No doubt. Hold on, I think is there another question there? Yeah, Monica said absolutely. He said yes, they are. They read several. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, she's talking about something. I saw excellent. Yeah, so that is what it is. All right, cool. Shout out to Monica. Yeah, for that. Yeah. Not all attorneys handle PCR cases. Okay, so that's what it is. He probably don't handle that, which was the question. So what is the what is it? Yeah. PCRA? What is that again?
Post Conviction Relief Act.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's an act. That was an act then. So that was written into law then. Or
but you can file a motion for it, and you know, to try, you know, to have that motion brought before a judge to see if that judge will, you know, grant the motion for whatever you're trying to appeal. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, we gotta look more into that. Because I'm sure it's people that don't even know about that to be able to even do that. And so no shout out to that. All right, let's jump right into it. What's up, Spark? You ready for me?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, well, why don't you give it to me early?
All right, well, we're talking about good news and bad news, and one of this is good news. Right now, we are in Ramadan, and the Philadelphia Department of Prison is understanding the different religions. So now, Philadelphia Department of Prison is now allowing Muslim correctional officers to wear hijabs while on duty. The new policy took effect on February the 18th. And they approved hijabs must be black. They also must be close fitting, easy to remove, and to allow the entire face to remain visible for security reasons. So staff members that are wearing the hijabs must also pass through the department's electronic body scanner before entering the secure prison areas. Prisons Commissioner Michael Resnick said, safety and security are paramount. But when we can responsibly accommodate religious freedom, it should not be repressed. Philadelphia joins a growing number of correctional and law enforcement agencies nationwide, updating uniform policies to allow religious head coverings while maintaining safety standards. So if you believe your workplace is denying you religious accommodations, you can contact the U.S. Equal Opportunity Commission, or the EEOC. Their number is 800-669-4000. Again, 1-800-669-4000. Or you can visit them on the web at eeoc.gov for more guidance.
Yeah, I think that's crazy that they weren't allowed to wear it before.
Yeah, I think it may have been, like they said, for safety reasons, or they can claim that those are the reasons, but it's for other reasons too, so yeah. Any more insights on that, Steve?
No,
As the Muslim community?
I'm happy about it. I
Now,
mean,
how about the men? Were they already able to wear it, the men, or is it for both?
well, men don't wear hijab, so
Well,
that's
not
a
that, but like
yeah,
their religious,
garb,
like
like a thobe or izar or something. I'm not sure. I haven't.
like for
I
any religion.
Yeah. Oh, maybe. I'm not sure.
I think they still have to wear the clothes as far as the far as their policy, but the headgear, I believe that would be the only thing that they could add to it.
Like,
As far as-
like were they not allowed to wear that before?
No.
No. I could tell you one thing. It was like that in sports too. It was challenges for some of the women athletes, the female athletes that wanted to wear hijab as they played. They got a lot of pushback based on that a while ago in Philadelphia, and now they're open to them wearing it because they understand it's a religious preference. And so I'm excited that there's a movement on that, and they're not being so stuck on this is what it has to be and that's that.
That's crazy, because you made me remember something. And I played girls basketball in high school, and I remember there was a player on my team, and I believe she was able to wear her. I don't remember her having any issues then, but that was a long time ago, when maybe like it just wasn't like people trying to ruffle feathers, at that time. And it was respected, and then this now is just like you get into this era where I don't know that enough about it. But,
or she has somebody advocating for her.
Yeah, I remember her playing, and she had the basketball shorts, and she had her tights underneath, and she had her hijab. If I have to remember, I don't ever remember her being told to take it off. But I'm glad that that's no longer an issue. You know what I mean? Like, to be able to.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Philly is getting some more money, and they're putting it to good places, huh?
I said that's what's up.
Yeah. All right. So if you know Cobbs Creek in West Philly, you remember where parts of that area had a lot of dumping, a lot of flooding. And they had some shady activity going on over there too. Well, now the city is putting in over $9.1 million into restoring about 25 acres of that wetland and that floodplain. It's going to be about a 3-mile stretch of the creek, and they're planting more than 49,000 trees and native plants. State Rep Morgan Cephas said that the area once had serious challenges, but now the investment is making its destination for residents and young people every single day. Here's the bigger picture. The project connects a $150 million rebuild of Cobbs Creek Golf Club, which is expected to become a world-class community space in a hands-on environmental classroom for Philly students. So what the city is asking, if you see any illegal dumping around those areas, the parks, the waterways, they want you to call the Philadelphia Water Department at 215-685-6300, or you can report it on Philly or phila.gov to keep that area clean. What are your thoughts on that?
That's great. I like the fact that they are they're trying to keep certain spaces looking and being the way that it should, especially in neighborhoods where there's a lot of people who look like me, because traditionally they didn't take care of those spaces. And I'm not talking about the people who look like me didn't take care of those spaces. I'm talking about where the money, people who were investing money, they didn't care about those spaces. And so I'm happy to see that.
But my question also is, with that amount of money, I get it. It's wetlands. I just covered all of the things that makes it look despairingly bad. But can that money go to the unhoused too?
I
Like, you
agree.
know what I'm
No,
saying?
I agree.
Like, wait, we doing greenery, which is understandable. We're breathing into an environment. If they have pests and all these insects, people live in that area. But we taking a lot of money to put it into something where it's a lot of people who could be utilizing those funds.
No, I agree. I mean, I think two things can be true too. I think that
Agreed.
I think your position has merit, and I agree with that. I would have to ask. I would need to know the breakdown of the money. Right? Is the money coming from the taxpayers? Are there grants? Are people specific? Because I know, say for example, we talking about the golf. Are you talk? If you're talking about Morgan Cephas area, you're talking about around the Overbrook area. You're talking about like the park where I know for certain that Tiger Woods invested a lot of his own money because that's where he wanted it in that on that golf course. It wasn't like the taxpayers giving $100,000 or $100 million in the location, right? And so I would just say, well, where is the money coming from, and who invested that money in those spaces?
Great question.
So that
And
go ahead.
go ahead. No,
No, I
finish
was
your
going.
thought.
No, I was going to say, if we use that as context, then we can argue all day about should certain monies go to certain spaces. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Monica just let me pull this up real quick. She said, we still had dumping near Mount Moriah Cemetery off
That's
Whitby Avenue. I agreed. I would love to see more funding for housing. Me too. I mean, like,
hmm,
I was
that
going to say,
area you're talking about right there.
yep.
Just talking about that.
And that's a problem, right? Because
Where?
I think people have certain agendas and they focus on certain locations, and that particular location is literally right around the corner from where we're talking about. And so we need to talk about. See, I hate pointing fingers because I always blame certain leadership, and so I don't want to get on my soapbox with that. But there has to be some accountability, and there has to be some of the community leaders spearheading the charge to hold certain people accountable.
Yeah, because it's funny that Monica mentioned that, because I rode past there several times, and I was just like remembering how a while ago I used to see like people out there, groups would be cleaning up in that area, and I don't know how long ago that was, but recently I was riding past and I was like, it looks terrible over here, and it's exactly where he just said.
Yeah.
That was
Wow.
it's just like I'm riding past it every time now, and I'm like, clean or green. I'm like, this is insane. It's like now it's becoming like an attraction for other people to dump there. It's like you see these tires, these mountains of tires, and it's just terrible, and it's a disgrace.
Lauren, did you do something with your mic? Your mic sound muffled for some reason, right? It just automatically
I
something
don't
within
have
the
a
list.
mic. I don't have.
Oh, okay. But no, I agree with you. We have to.
And
Yeah.
and just for sake of the story, trust me, I think it's great. I think putting money into it's like, I know the mayor or the cabinet is saying we can't please everybody. So trust me, doing that is definitely a great thing to make the evergreens look good. But also, like Sizzle was just saying too, it's $150 million rebuild at Cobb's Creek. So now it's like, oh, I gotta have a beautiful house and a pretty car, because now are you only doing this because of how it connects to that, so that it all can look nice? You know what I'm saying? So,
Or are you only doing this because certain people look a certain way around there? So for me, no, I agree with you too, because that's one of the things that we need to. No, it's unfortunate, but what I will say too is, as long as certain people have access to certain spaces, I'm all right with that. 100% all right. The problem I have is when we talk about gentrification, right? And people who used to have access to certain places no longer have access because now the certain people who moved in are complaining that, oh, we don't want this area so loud now. Like, what are you talking about? You moved in, it was always loud. Or why are these people cooking outside? Well, what are you talking about? We always do. Just because you moved in. And I have a real problem. I mean, I love all you bikers out there. I have a real problem with these new bike lanes, and that's I'm sure that's going to be part of it, right? Because that area, they're starting to widen the bike lanes and make the traffic a little bit more tighter, right? And so that's a problem for me too.
In a minute, you're just gonna have to get a bike.
How about that, right? And stop driving altogether. Maybe I get a motorized scooter. So I've been thinking about that anyway. But
if you can't beat them, join them.
But that's not okay sometimes, right? That ain't okay sometimes, And so that has been. I get your point, those parts. But that has been that idea is an idea that has literally killed certain ideas, because they're saying don't fight, just deal with it, and it's okay. And sometimes we still have to continue to fight and advocate. They destroyed the tree. Yeah, okay. Let's put them up. Yeah. They destroyed the trees, and it's because of Tiger Woods. Watch how many of us use the golf, but that's true. It's not a lot of us use that golf course right there. The one thing I will say, Monica, is that what that location, because I've been following what they have been doing, and they have opened up free access and programs for the community right around there. And so it's kind of like six in one hand, half a dozen in the other. I've been seeing like little kids walking to that location and getting free tutoring, getting free lessons, getting free, things that they wouldn't normally have access to. So would I care about the trees versus my people? Probably. I don't, I can take some trees to make sure that little Robbie don't find me on the back block and take what I had, right? Because now he have an outlet to do some good work. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely, again, two things can be true. And it is one of those things. Yeah.
Okay. All right, our final story, and this ties into Pennsylvania because this is international news. There are two young Pennsylvania men, 18-year-old Emir Balat and 19-year-old Ibrahim Kayumi. They're being held without bail after authorities say they threw homemade explosive devices during a protest at a Gracie Mansion in New York City. Investigators say that the men admitted they were inspired by the extremist group Islamic State. According to court documents, one suspected allegedly told officers he wanted to do something even bigger than the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing. The explosive devices contain TATP, which is a powerful chemical explosive, along with nuts and bolts designed to cause serious injury. But fortunately, neither device detonated. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi responded saying, "We will not allow ISIS poisonous anti-American ideology to threaten this nation." Authorities say that the suspects drove from Pennsylvania through New Jersey into New York, and investigators later recovered explosive materials and instructions inside their vehicle. One of the young men had with the vehicle, it was actually registered to a Pennsylvania resident, which was one of the young men's uncle. So if you see suspicious activity or materials that could be dangerous, please report tips directly to the FBI by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI. That's 1-800-225-5324. Or you can always go online and submit your tips online to tips.fbi.gov.
No doubt. That's funny. No doubt. Absolutely.
See, another example of SPFU.
That's so
she
funny.
is telling the truth.
Yeah. That's funny.
He talking about he wanted to do something bigger than they in there without bail. But did you hear the ages? Last year, they were just in high school, 18 and 19 years old. by law you're considered, and no, that's still a kid. That's still teen on that number. 18, 19. Your frontal lobe isn't even developed yet.
Especially as a male. Like males, you know, they mature. So I think it's like 3 years slower than women. Like, you know, maybe more than that.
Yeah,
But
3 to 5.
yeah, 3 to 5 years. Yep, slower than women, and so yeah.
And they thinking that. Go ahead, Sizzle.
No, go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
I was just saying, like, they probably play all these games and so desensitized that they sitting there trying to make a bomb with bolts and nails, and it didn't even detonate. Like, whatever they was trying to do did not even hit the mark. They probably don't even have a record, and now who knows what their future holds with this.
My thing is just like that energy, like, channel it somewhere else. Like, go to college or something, like, or a tech school, and the chemistry, the whatever those skills are, put them somewhere else. Like, it's insane. But like, my other thinking too is just like, will this encourage other teens their age to do something crazy?
Yeah. And but they did say it's almost like they wanted to be bigger than the Boston bombing. You can hear by their names what their ethnicity is, and you saw their pictures. It's sad.
And what were their ages? The Boston bombing.
From the Boston bombing, I can't remember.
They were young too.
Yeah,
they were young too. There was one that was like really young.
Yeah, it's like even with the United Healthcare CEO killing, like they usually will make a manifesto or something and then feel like that they need to go and create this craziness that they can't get out of years later.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow.
So that was your good news and your bad news from your girl, Classy Lady Sparkle.
Good news and bad news for Classy Lady Sparkle. I'm your boy, Charles Gregory, with the beautiful.
Lauren Sizzle.
The beautiful.
Classy Lady Sparkle.
Sizzle, you ready for me? You got something for me?
Yeah, we might as well breeze right on through.
Yes, holla at me early.
All right, so before I jump right on into this good old entertainment sizzle news, make sure you support independent journalism with We Talk Weekly News by subscribing on all major podcast platforms and follow us on social media so you can stay informed and stay connected and just be in the know. You can help us expand our community-centered, solutions-based reporting. Make a donation via Cash App to $ We Talk Weekly, or you can do it securely through PayPal at wetalkweekly.com, and every contribution makes an impact. All right, so this Oscars showdown, you know it's about to go down, and I'm super, super excited for Sinners, but it's kind of like bittersweet because this is happening just weeks after the BAFTA Film Awards ceremony racist blunder, which the BBC is under fire for. But before I get right into, putting BBC on the hot seat, Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan, is up for 16 Academy Award nominations. Get those applause ready. Get those applause ready.
I know, right? We don't have the applause on here.
I
know, right? We don't have the applause on this one. We gotta go to the
give it to y'all.
Yeah. All right. And then when we're done, if we could, respond to Monica's question, because she had a question. I would love to kind of chat on that. Any guesses on how many awards they're going to take home tomorrow night? Because the Oscars are tomorrow night, right? How many awards they're going to take home out of that 16? Anybody? Any numbers? Any numbers? I'm gonna say 9. I'll make it an even 10. Anybody saying anybody over 10?
I'm at
AJ,
9.
you're at 9. See? No. All right. Okay. Well, Sinners is now rumored to have an edge at nabbing more Oscars after this BAFTA Awards show catastrophe. Well, Michael B. Jordan, fellow Sinners actor Delroy Lindo, they were presenting the first award of the night. Well, when as soon as Michael B. Jordan began to speak, he was interrupted by a racial slur yelled out from the audience by John Davidson, who has severe Tourette's syndrome. So John Davidson is also a Tourette's syndrome activist, and his life was inspired by the BAFTA-nominated film I Swear, which is why he was there. And John Davidson did say that he was deeply mortified of his outburst due to an involuntary vocal tic. And say that 3 times. So he shouted out other offensive words throughout the evening of the BAFTA Awards. So this wasn't the only thing that he said. He was saying other things. But when the racial slur was yelled out right mid-sentence, Michael B. Jordan talking. Shout out to Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo. They were able to keep their composure and keep presenting the award, which I thought was also awesome. And during the show, host Alan Cumming spoke and said, "You may have heard some strong and offensive language tonight." Then he proceeded to explain John Davidson's condition. And then he apologized and said, if anybody was offended. So Michael B. Jordan, he was understanding, saying, you got to take things one day at a time. But Delroy Lindo, he said he would have preferred a more personal, formal apology directly after it happened. But the BBC came under fire because they had the opportunity to edit it out. And this is what a lot of people were also mad at. Yet they edited out a lot of the other tics that came from John Davidson that night. But now the BBC and BAFTA, them being under fire because BBC One, they allowed it to air not only on BBC, but they didn't remove it from iPlayer, where it remained on there for a whole nother day. So BBC said the broadcast of a racial slur shouted at the BAFTA Film Awards ceremony was the result of a genuine mistake. Other initial evidence gathered has found that no one in the on-site broadcast truck heard this when they were watching the live feed. So is this even acceptable? What's your thoughts?
Give me one second. I'm gonna tell you my thoughts. Hold on one second. I'm gonna just.
The story is baloney. You people must be idiots. What are you doing? Are you people out of your mind? Are you just?
Yo, listen. Ain't no way in this world, right? This is BBC. This is the quote unquote respected cream de la crumb of media publication and production. Ain't no way that they didn't hear that, or maybe they just didn't want to hear it. And the fact that they had the opportunity to edit and remove after, because remember, even if they didn't hear it the first time, the outrage, they heard that. So they had the opportunity to fix that and edit. The second part of that is shout out to my folk who handled that so classy. And unfortunately, that's something that we always have to do. We always have to take the higher road, right? Sometimes some people need to be punched in the mouth, right? Metaphorically. And I have an issue that the fact that you have Tourette's and that's something that you have to deal with as, how can I put it? So I'm trying to be as political as I can, right? So that's something that you suffer from Tourette's, right? and you are on the stage, you want to advocate for it, and you want to say that that's, a quote unquote disability, and you want us to be open to that. And I even heard people of our descent, try to advocate for it. The problem that I have with that is, if that was the case, why didn't you apologize right after that? Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have did that. It was just by way of my Tourette's. I'm sure the world people would have understood that, right? But you waited, and you waited until the backlash came for you to say something, and then you gave a sorry apology after that. And my question was, well, you didn't use that word term until they got on stage. What happened to all the other outbursts? You didn't use any slurs like that about somebody race with your Tourette's. Now, I don't have Tourette's, so I don't know too much, so I don't want to speak too much, but the fact that you have a disability don't take away that you hurt somebody else. And look, so Monica said it's a disability, but it must have been in his heart. That's exactly the point that I'm making. Like, you understand how hurtful that word is. People who have Tourette's blurt out words that they normally are used to saying or around or familiar with hearing. You don't just automatically invent a word when you have Tourette's. I know this one young lady whistles when she has her outburst. I know a few people with Tourette's is not as bad. Some are more violent responses than others, but this right here is no excuse for the follow-up. Him doing it is one thing, the follow-up is the problem, and that's what I have a problem with, the follow-up. Because if you want to say, oh, it's my Tourette's and I use the word, all right, cool, but it's just no excuse for that. And the BBC just do the gas on the fire because they know better than that, right? And so remember, we always talk about fake news, trusting news, and BBC is probably one that stood very high with that. Now I'm questioning the trust that I have for you for allowing something like that, because the BBC are known certified quote unquote journalists. So you mean to tell me, as photojournalists, video journalists, reporters, that you didn't think that was an issue and you have an accountability? You have ethics to uphold. It's no, I in my head, I try my best to follow, because I'm for the people. I've been fighting in my head to try to find a reason to allow, not even use the word allow, but to be okay with the fact that that's a disability and that happened then. I'm just like, no, because you're still a problem with who are using that word that you around that made you blurt that out, right? Or let's take that out. How come you didn't say, why didn't you give an apology? And the apology that he gave, like I said, it was lame. And you said he said something along the line of, I don't have it in front of me, but he wanted to let the dust clear. No, that's when you're supposed to jump in and be like, yo, that's my bad, I'm working on it. And he just tried to say, I wanted to, this is something to, make the world understand that this is what's going on. No. The world knows that black people have been slaughtered for 50, 60, 70 years, 400 years. The world knows that too. Y'all trying to hide that. So I don't feel bad. No, he needs all the smoke. That's where I'm at with it. I don't feel bad at all. That was horrible. We as a media outlet, we are not looked at as being to a degree. We're not legacy news, right? We're building a legacy, but we're not legacy news. And so we're not looked at as, we get gatekept from organizations like that. And so we need to hold them accountable too, right? And so I don't have no problem with it. He could have, look, here we go. He could have avoided the backlash had he said something. That's what I said. Had he said something immediately, like I said, if he would have waited until after they got off stage, you have access, you could have just been like, look, I apologize for that, this, that, and the other. He didn't do that. He didn't do that. And again, we have to stop saying like, okay, acknowledging quote unquote an apology over here, but not acknowledging that even though you apologize, that still hurt the community. And no one is talking about that part of it. And so that's the problem that I have.
Yeah. Everything, yeah, everything C said. The only thing I wish if time could reverse, if we could, go back in time, I feel like they should have addressed it. I'm done with being nice. I'm done with, invite them to the cookout. While we were up there on that stage, just as classy as they omitted it by not speaking about it, they could have spoke about it just as classy in that moment. Hey, everybody, I just want everyone to recognize that just happened, and we are owed an apology right now. Right now, while the cameras are still moving right now. And Tourette syndrome, neurodivergent. It's neurological. ADD, OCD, all of these things that people still have attention deficit disorder, hyper deficit disorder. Okay, so if I do something, I'm gonna go straight to my disorder. Am I going to be able to be excused because I have a neurodivergent, mindset? Oh no. And I've dealt with Tourette's people because I had my cannabis store. It was sometimes they use kratom to help with the tics and things like that. It is something planted there. You can only speak a cuss word if you heard it. You can only speak a color if you heard it. You can only speak a gender if you heard it. He didn't say women. He didn't say human. He said the N-word, and he hard ER. And if those were two white people up there, it wouldn't have been that word. So why do we have to sugarcoat? Why do we have to play around it? It is what it is. The only thing is that I wish Delroy, I thought he was going to say something because he be telling it like it is. He's seasoned, but I wish that they would have said something in the moment to identify it. Everybody's like hiding in plain sight. That's hiding in plain sight. You're going to say something and act like you don't hear it, and then we're going to talk about it afterwards. Guess what? Afterwards, the narrative changes. Everybody got a moment or a beat to think, for PR to come in and try to make things better. No, we're going to handle this right now in this very moment as it's taking place.
Yep. And you spoke about the one thing about that gentleman is he is very vocal when it comes to the usage of the word. He'll be like, say it. What you like, say it and tell me why you want to say it. Like,
he did that.
Yeah. And so the position that I hold with that is he probably would have said something live on national TV, but I think he took the high road because who he was next to and who was getting honored and things like that. And so that shows even more class, which goes to the point that Monica said, and I've been saying. So this is the issue for us as well, because we always take the high road, even when we shouldn't. We are the only race that does that and feels like we need to. And that's burnt in our souls that we should always take the high road. Turn face, right? Get smacked in the face, that's all right. They say, you have to forgive the abuser. We are the only ones who's taught that. And yes, I get the idea of, forgiveness so you can get over it, right? Because it's on you. It lays heavy on you. But look, I'm for forgiveness, but I don't forget. I don't forget. And I'm also for, having consequences for things that you do. It's no question.
James mentioned it earlier at the AI. He was on a panel talking about how we're brainwashed to that. If you're saying it's religion reasons, because the Bible says, be as cautious as a serpent, but be as innocent as a dove. I'm not going to a gunfight with a knife, and I'm not fighting a gorilla with a broom. You know, I'm coming. Okay, you want to mirror us? I'm gonna mirror you. You know, but I think that it should have been addressed, and I think that we're in the yesteryears of saying we're always going to keep taking the high road. The high road is to be successful in the outcome. That's the high road to me. The high road is handling it with dignity, which still could have been done, but not being to be almost like omitting something, and that's taking the high road, because something in me always says silence is sometimes giving granted of okay and acceptance. Silence is not always golden to make it you're taking the high road.
A true apology would have been him not blaming it on Tourette's and just saying, I apologize. Everyone on the planet know he has Tourette's. They already gave him a pass to say he has Tourette's. We get it. So you don't have to keep mentioning that to me. But what you do need to mention is that you hurt a particular community. It was not okay saying that, and you apologize. Don't jump back into, and this is why I'm advocating to spread more. No. Because now you just blamed it on Tourette's again. Stop blaming it on Tourette's. It doesn't matter if you're unhoused. It doesn't matter if you can't speak. You don't have the vocal cords to speak, or you can't hear. You can't see. You still could do F-boy stuff. You can do F-boy stuff with one leg.
They're laughing at their dinner table.
Yes. Okay. It's like, no.
They're laughing.
It's wrong. So I don't accept the apology. You're not apologizing to me per se, but I don't accept it. I feel like it was in poor taste. I think his apology was in poor taste, and he has enough money at this point from his documentaries and all the movies that was based around this to have enough people around him to say, like, yo, his PR team need to do damage control, and damage control for someone who's smart enough would say, like, a true apology wouldn't be talking about you. A true apology is acknowledging that you hurt the person that you did something to, period. Full stop.
Yeah, or apologize monetarily. You can donate to minority, Black organizations, NAACP or something like that. If you really want to apologize, because it's like, what's more, cause worthy? Is you saying, like, I'm sorry, my Tourette's, and then people are like, oh, it's Tourette's, let me go watch this movie. Or like, oh, I'm sorry, it's my Tourette's, I'll make a donation to NAACP.
Yep.
Great suggestion.
And not to take anything away from those who suffer from Tourette's syndrome and any disease or sickness that they can't control. But yeah, I totally agree. This is with everything, it's a shame. I felt terrible just watching. Like, I wanted to crawl under my desk watching Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo after they had to proceed. It was the most humiliating thing.
It was
watching them to watch them have to proceed with this after that racial slur was yelled out. And then you had other people that were like, somebody said, like, why did they even sit him in the front to be yelling at people? And if he had that,
I think he was nominated for an award or something like that.
Yeah, he was there because he was nominated, but like, and I'll just say, like, it was Joy from The View. She said, and he was sitting right in the front. But
you can't marginalize him either because of that. Like, I mean, that I get it. Like, you can't.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
And
the embarrassment should have went back on. That's what you do when you stay silent. It only bounces on you. When you say something, it goes back on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but no, I think he didn't approach it, or he didn't speak on it because, I mean, it was a lot of Black excellence in there, and they needed their time. It's kind of like the whole Will Smith smack.
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
His role.
Yeah, when it was a couple Black, like, I think was it Black Thought or somebody was getting an award and they wasn't able to kind of appreciate the award because of that happened. So it took away from X, Y, and Z. And so I think it was that mentality that he didn't, talk too much about it. He just was like, all right, that was foul, but you know, Sinners was really getting like, it's just one of those things. I kind of get it. I don't want to think for him because he didn't say anything. I would love to hear his take on it, on why he didn't say anything, but he didn't really need to. I think that, again, you see how we just put it back on him, just indirectly we put it back on him, like maybe he should have said something. No, the guy shouldn't have said it in the first place, so he didn't have anything to say. That's the point that I'm saying. We generally put certain things on our own community, for us to take the high road, and it's just not okay. It's not okay, even with the whole stop and frisk thing, and I'll leave it at here. But we have to always take the high road because we targeted, so we have to shut up and comply. Meanwhile, they can call us the N word, they can beat us up and trample on us, and we have to just let them do it because, oh well, you better comply because you might get hurt. Meanwhile, they're hurting us while they're doing that. It's like, black folk always have to, and I hate to sound like, the black folk, thing, the narrative, but it is what it is, and it's just we shouldn't have to always take the high road when it comes to something. I'm petty, right? So it's certain things that I want my get back, and but I do believe that when it comes to cops, like, you want to get back home to your family, and so just comply, eat it. The more you struggle, like, you can't get away, you struggle, what are you doing? Like, just comply, don't talk to them. Comply, be quiet, and the first thing you say is, I want a lawyer, period. Don't say nothing else to me. I want a lawyer. Go ahead, lock me up, cool, I want a lawyer, period. I ain't saying nothing, I want a lawyer. And thankfully we got, a counselor on our team, you know what I'm saying? But literally, I want a lawyer, period.
Absolutely.
Look, I just said this. Yeah, I was talking to the attorney earlier, Monica, and I said, the attorney, they say stop and frisk, but our mayor called it Terry stops. That was the name of the person that brought the lawsuit on. Yeah, but whatever. More abuse on the.
Yeah, sometimes it's a cool way if you say Terry stops versus stop and frisk. You know what I mean? Like, when you say it publicly for those who are not as informed about,
And we asked the mayor when she came on, what's the difference and what it consists of. So if we can find that clip just to say what she mentioned, what
She
the
had
Terry.
no road.
Yeah, because
I mean,
are you gonna vote for me if I say I'm for stop and frisk? No, but if I say I'm for Terry stops, you just might, because you may not know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what the mayor said. She stands by
Yeah.
Terry stops, not stopping for shit.
but again, if we
Right.
address it, let's
So
find a
just
clip and
saying
play
it a
what.
certain way goes over some people's heads.
Yeah, what she said, that she feels as though why she, instituted it again.
Yeah, crazy.
All right.
All right. So, a recent interview with music executive Matthew Knowles took an unexpected turn after a question about his former wife, Tina Knowles, came up. So Matthew appeared on New York's Pix 11 while promoting Destiny Child's tribute concert. So during the interview, the host mentioned Tina Knowles' contributions to the group's early success. So Matthew Knowles said, "What contribution?" So the host mentioned, styling the members and designing their stage costumes and all that. And Matthew Knowles was like, "What contribution? Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess." So the host basically had to reiterate, her behind the scenes work and helping to shape the group's imagery and when they first, throughout their years and all that. So after that, Matthew Knowles just got up and he ended the interview and, kind of stepped off set. But this clip, after a while, kind of quickly spread across social media. And it reignited this debate among fans about the many people who helped build one of the most successful girl groups of all time, arguably. So, Matthew Knowles did say later that the interview had gotten off to a rough start, and he kind of clarified that Tina did make contributions to the girls, name, their image, their style, and all that. But you know how, like, people just were not having it. They were just like, people were just outraged, like, how dare you not give Tina her flowers? So
we wasn't there.
So I don't know.
Only him and her and the kids. No, not even the kids, because they was kids. You got grown people talk about grown stuff, grown bills. So only him and her really know. Sacrificial, the whole bit.
Well, I mean, you do have some people that were like, well, what about when Matthew didn't have his job and Tina was, kind of, I guess, doing everything and like, basically like it was a partnership. How for her not to.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like only them two know. No one else can really input. As people, as we know, with children and mates, really only them two can really give in what that means. Not that he's right and not that she's wrong. That's my opinion.
Yeah. And I know it's kind of hard, like, when somebody brings up an ex or something like that, and, you might not be on good terms, but I don't know. Like, it really, publicly, it wasn't a good look at all, even though he's kind of saying, like, he didn't mean it like that, like she did make contributions, but it just didn't come off that well.
You think Beyonce called him that night and was like, why you say that, Dad? What you doing?
Beyonce probably, she know her dad, so she's just like,
here he go. I mean, but you got this in regular, huh?
What'd you say?
No, I was just gonna say you got this in regular relationships where you got people be like, I did more as a parent, you stepped off, and I did this, and everybody, you wasn't a good father, you wasn't a good mother. That's why I said you got two people where even Beyonce, Solange, Kelly, whatever, they can't even weigh in until later, but as far as the initial time, only them two grown adults now.
Yeah. I guess he's not gonna say nothing. He just gonna sit there and look.
See, can you please give a few words towards it?
I'll just say it's a finesse to do certain interviews, right? And I think sometimes certain questions have to be finessed in a way that it doesn't look like you're giving one more than the other. And it's on record how much work that gentleman did to make Destiny Child. And I'll just leave it at that.
But who would they be without Tina? I mean, you need both of them.
Yeah, you need both. But that wasn't the point I just made, right? I said you have to finesse sometimes questions where it doesn't look like one is doing more than the other. So equally, I would say that there needs to be an understanding that one did a lot of work. Standing outside, records outside in the trunk and hitting the streets, and that's something that gentleman did do. And Monica said they would literally just be a badly dressed group. and Monica said that I didn't. But you know, you have somebody that truly put in the work, and and you know, Mama Beyonce, Mama Knows, as they call her. They did some great work. Can you compare the two? It's like a stay-at-home mom versus somebody go to work. Do you minimize a stay-at-home mom when she's raising the kids and somebody's at work every day? You
Right.
know, you can't.
Yeah. How do you
I don't.
measure
I
it?
don't. Yeah. How do you measure it? So I don't want to measure. That's why I say there needs to be a nuance when trying to, unless somebody just totally wasn't there when I was shooting in the gym. Mama Knows happened to be there when they were shooting in the gym, so you can't rule her out. So I think the backlash is unwarranted, honestly. But I do think that the interview, I haven't watched it, so I need to see it to get the full context. But like I said, when interviewing, there's certain ways that sometimes you just need to frame a question where it doesn't look like you're giving more one props over the other.
He was trying to be messy, to
Mhm.
be honest, I think. I
Oh,
think
you seen it?
that and oh yeah, I saw
Okay.
it. Cause
I didn't
yeah,
see
he
it.
left.
You saw how you left.
Yeah. Can I add one last thing? And then I'll be quiet. Joe Jackson and Katherine Jackson
That's
with
funny.
nothing.
I was just thinking that. I was just thinking that. Them
What happened?
two.
Huh?
What happened?
Oh, how did you just miss it? That was so good. That was like
I was just
you missed it.
thinking. Yeah.
Catch him up for me, Sizzle.
Yeah. He said Joe Jackson and Catherine would never.
He still don't get it.
You mean the Jackson 5?
Yes, the mother
Oh,
and the father. Like,
I mean,
come on.
listen, I ain't pay that no mind because I'm like, like we wouldn't even be talking about them because we wouldn't even be talking about them. Like,
Yeah. It's
it's,
funny because
it's,
I wanted to say it like, like that movie White Chicks are like, you said it when you were thinking it. I wanted to say it, but I was like, I'm gonna leave that alone. All
yeah.
right, so last story. Pop
And
star
then real
Rihanna.
quick, before you go there, I want to pull this up because this is exactly my point. When you talking about the person who interviewed, everyone knows the dynamics between those two. Why? Like, I mean,
That's why I said he was being messy.
if you know the relationship, so see, I have to watch it, but like you already know somebody's, yeah.
Because
So
I mean, even if he didn't mean it that way, the way he said it was
Messy.
messy.
yeah,
It's all it's that
I knew that. I
Wendy
understood.
Williams. Yeah, it's that how you doing? Like it's just trying to get
Yeah,
clicks and
yeah,
views and
And that's cool. If that's what he
yeah,
do, that explains it. And
yeah. Because
so,
I mean, I can understand. I get it. Because it's like if I'm doing 50 interviews and like every time on the 49th one, is somebody gonna ask me about my ex or and that might be the one where I'm just like, look, what? So I don't. That's how he came off. He was like, yeah, asking him about his contributions to Destiny's Child, and then say, well, what about Tina? What about her contributions? And I guess it was. I don't think the host was being. I don't think the host was being like kind of messy because I heard reports that he's done interviews with this host before, and like after the show or whatever, he didn't necessarily storm out because he said that they stood there and took pictures and all that. So it
so
wasn't
this
like
is my thing. This is my thing, right? Did Mr. Knowles lead a conversation with, oh, Tina don't do anything? Did he lead with that?
no, he didn't have
Right.
to.
Right. So that's my point. So if he didn't lead with that, or that wasn't the conversation, why would you bring it up as if I'm not giving somebody props?
And the thing is, you can't be mad at. I mean, we can't be mad at at picks 11, New York's Picks 11, because there was an agreement to keep that portion of it out of the interview. So the interview aired, but someone leaked that part.
See?
And that's when it went viral. So it wasn't the radio station, or it wasn't Pix 11 being messy. Somebody leaked it. And
Who leaked it? And how much did they get?
Somebody from Pix 11 leaked it. What do you mean?
Right. That's what I'm
That's their
saying.
fault. That's their fault. Like, especially if we
That's
have
an inside job.
Yeah, 100%. That ain't, what do you mean?
All
That's
day.
Because it might not even been a host, right? It could have been somebody like from the production team, like, so I don't even want to blame the whole. I'm still a little, funny about the question, but he probably was like, I probably shouldn't have asked that question. We gonna leave that out. Somebody like,
because I think they're cool, and that's the thing. It's like, legally, do you owe? Because we've done interviews with people before, and we've had people have said things, and it's just like, oh, out of respect, we'll keep that part out of the interview, or for this person's reputation, we'll keep that out. We make that verbal agreement, and it's between us, and our respect for you is quote unquote legally binding, even though it's not legally officially legal. But like, they didn't really have. I mean, I guess it must have been a verbal agreement, like, oh, we're gonna take that out, we'll edit that out, and that's not gonna go in there. But
we also have guests who asked us not to, like, they'll tell us prior and say, can you not ask me questions about this? And if we say no, then you might not be a good fit for us, or we'll say, okay, out of respect, we'll go ahead and just focus on your book or on your movie. So yeah, you're right.
100%, 100%. But we'll do that before they even get on air. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Right. No, this is
Yep, you're not going to handcuff me with the questions. And we ask hard questions sometimes, but we're not messy, right? And so, that's not our platform, right? And so, we will ask some hard probing questions sometimes, but we're going to respect you. Like, I don't believe, and it's some journalists that are a little different, but I don't believe in, if I see a pushback against a question and I see that it might cause conflict, I'm not going to keep asking you that question. Some journalists like, no, they'll dig and they'll probe, and I guess that's how they feel their journalistic integrity is lined up. Mine isn't that way. I'll just ask a different question, and if you're really good at what you do, you phrase it in a different way, well, they'll answer it anyway, right? And go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, there's some journalists today that are like exactly what you said, and they're the reason that some celebrities will not do interviews. Exactly,
which goes to one of our interviews that we had with, I believe, Jeff Brown, who said, like, this was the first time that a media company, news, allowed me the space to clarify my position.
Yeah.
And that would just to happen. We talk about trust in news, right? We talk about trust. Like, in order to build trust, you have to at least share both sides of it, right? It's not about click, it's about what's the real news, what really happened. Not the part where we know that people want to hear, but it might be parts that people don't want to hear because it might poke holes in everybody else's story, right? And so you have to hear the full story and then make a decision or form a perspective based on that. Because even in true research, right? Because I always say I'm not a true journalist per se, but in true research, one of the things they say is you have to ask the full question and understand what the retort is, right? You got to know what the argument is, right? And know what was the reason or the impetus for the argument. So if you really doing that, then you understand true discourse. So that's what, I know Temple, that was Research One University. And when I got my master's, that's the first thing they would say. Like, you have to do the research, understand what the argument is, know what the reason for or the impetus to whatever the situation is in the first place, because that's true discourse. You can't have discourse without that, right?
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm gonna get off my soapbox, but I do say that I'm not a true journalist per se. I give that to Lauren, but when it comes to research and when it comes to understanding dynamics and formulating, a thesis or dissertation. I know that I know. And so yeah.
Well, I mean, anybody can be a journalist. The journalists wearing different hats. You can be creator journalist. You can be like.
Well, maybe I should say formal journalist or accredited journalist or whatever you want to say. Because you have a lot of journalists that get we're in these think tanks and these talks about journalists having an issue with the way that journalism is being defined now. Which to a degree, I get it. You went to school for it, got a degree based on it. And then you have people that just walk up, shoot a camera and say that they're journalists. So I get the argument and I respect that because I always respect the work that people put in. I wouldn't want anyone to take away my credit or, what I worked hard to attain. Right. So I get it, but yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's true. Like, if you're doing the hard work, or if you went to school and you have, so many thousands of dollars of student loans and you still paying them back and you doing all the A to Z of the journalism work, and somebody just pulling up with, 100,000 followers and they're just like an influencer and they it's like I could get that. I get that part, but it's a different type of work. All right, so last story. Pop star Rihanna, she is safe after a frightening incident at her Southern California home that investigators say was anything but random. Very scary part. A woman was arrested after allegedly firing multiple rounds at the singer's Beverly Hills property with several members of her family, Rihanna's family, inside. Police responded to reports of gunfire around 1:15 that afternoon on March 8th. According to investigators, witnesses reported hearing roughly 10 shots fired from a vehicle outside the property. At that time, Rihanna was home with her partner, rapper A$AP Rocky, their 2 children, her mother, and staff members. Fortunately, no one was injured in the shooting. And police say the suspect, who was identified as 35-year-old Ivana Lisette Ortiz of Florida, allegedly fired at the property using a semi-automatic rifle before fleeing the scene in a white Tesla. Officers tracked the vehicle and arrested Ortiz roughly 30 minutes later in a parking lot in nearby Sherman Oaks, and a weapon was recovered during the arrest. In a criminal complaint, investigators described this shooting as willful, deliberate, and premeditated. Authorities allege Ortiz traveled to the home with the intent to kill the singer, to kill Rihanna, and Ortiz now faces a series of serious felony charges, which include attempted murder, multiple counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm, and charges related to shooting at an inhabited dwelling. She remains in custody on bail set at roughly $1.8 million and is expected to return to court later this month, as they are still continuing to investigate this crime. So authorities are trying to determine what the motive was. They're saying that could be some, mental health issues involved. Although, Rihanna, A$AP Rocky, and her family are safe, this case does raise continued concerns for celebrity safety and targeted violence in residential neighborhoods due to how easy it is for people just to find out where celebrities live. And
I don't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say, I was hearing some other reports where they were talking about, because I think Lauren LaRosa was doing a report where she was talking about how the neighbors were saying how friendly Rihanna is, and and over there they have the I don't know the name of it or whatever the company name, but they have like the celebrity house tours where you can get on the bus and just like do the tours and ride past celebrity houses. So Lauren LaRosa was explaining how like whenever they do the tour coming past Rihanna's house, she does come out, she's there and greets people and she'll wave and all that. So she's really friendly, and allegedly. So now that she has a family, she has children, and this is just scary. And there's a video of this woman, talking about how she was going to get Rihanna and Rihanna was after her, which is just bizarre.
Yeah, Rihanna, my girl. So I'm like, what did Rihanna do? Rihanna, stay out the way, man. Everybody love Rihanna. That's my girl, man. Leave Rihanna alone. I don't know too much about the lady, but Monica said that was crazy, putting her family in danger like that. The woman is a person with some challenges. She was threatening other folks as well. So it sounds like it's just not Rihanna, it's other people that she has a history of doing this with. Some people just have some mental health problems, and that needs to be acknowledged too. But to your point, I don't think celebrities are exempt. They just like people too. So they don't get no special privileges, they need to, they in the public eye, they're, so they need to put safety measures, on they need to do it themselves. Like, I don't think the citizens of the community need to like, oh, let's do something special for no. Like, we walk outside and get shot every day. I don't, know.
Yeah, I mean, as a public figure, that is what you pretty much quote unquote sign up for. It's like you kind of sign away your rights to your privacy and like people not having access to you. But it's when it rises to this level, it's just like,
yeah, that's crazy. That's Rihanna, my girl, man. Leave Rihanna alone. She exempt from all of that, so she gets special privileges because that's Rihanna. Just Rihanna.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Wait, he sound like on paid in full. People get shot every day, B. Like you
That's what I'm saying. People get shot every day.
I think that them taking people on the tour and just putting out people's residence, I don't think that that's cool. Like you said, if they regular people, don't point their house out. That's it. Like, why do you not point to people's house? House public record, but they want to make money and they want to make it where that's business and that's part of the the action. So with that being said, when you do become that status, you got to get higher gates, higher fences, more cameras, more detail of security.
Yep,
it costs to
part.
be the boss, and that's
That part,
it.
yeah. You got to put those measures in place. That's not, the society to do that. That's you have to do that. That's what you signed up for. And it's crazy to say. Hopefully, we'll be in a position like that's crazy to say that, right? But it's kind of like you set up. This is what you signed up for.
Well, go ahead, Sizzle.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, real quick, like you really do have to protect yourself, because it's like, you saying like, see, you said like this, what, like we'll be in. What were you saying? Like we'll be in that.
I said, no, I was saying like, hopefully one day. It sounds crazy, but hopefully one day we'll be in a situation where we would need security to kind of walk the street. And you know me, I probably wouldn't. I like the people.
But the thing is, you would already be right now considered a public figure.
Yeah, I get it.
Means as a public figure, you waive your right to privacy. So it's kind of like, just having to put those security measures in place, like, and not just like as like, just like a celebrity or a public figure. Like, people should do that in general. because even in law enforcement, like working there, we had this training where they were talking about how the different things that law enforcement officers now have to do to protect themselves and their identities. Like,
Yeah.
stop doing the Google reviews, stop putting your information on there. Like, oh, I went here and I had such a nice time. I'm there at this is my Monday spot and I'm here every Monday. And then you're doing another review and you're like, oh, this is where I get my nails done. And then you do another one. And this is where I go to get my hair done. This is my favorite place. Now you've left breadcrumbs for somebody that if they want to find you or they want to contact you, they can connect with you those ways. And just like going on different sites and removing your information, removing your address and your phone number and just all those things. And it's like, you have to constantly do that because there's so many different companies that are trying to find out your information. And once you remove it from here, you got to go over there and remove it. And it's just a lot. And it's tedious to try to protect your personal information, even as like a private citizen. It's crazy. But like, yeah, you can't be friendly and be like all out, you know.
Yeah.
But I was gonna, just to what Rihanna, if Rihanna puts the house into a trust and where it's not public record, she can then sue the people, because it's usually, you know, regular schmegular type of, you know, tour busing people. Because it's public record that she lives there, she can't deny it. But if she puts in the trust, hides her name, so it's no longer public record, she can now say, do not say that I live here, or now I can put a lawsuit against you because now you're giving information that's not true. So she has a leg to stand on with what, you know, I just described as putting it as a trust. But outside of that, and as far as public figures, we better start getting some security because we public figures.
Well, I mean, and to that point too, though, like we're not there to hurt nobody either. Like, it's a lot of people that's arrogant. It's a lot of people who don't care about other people. Yeah, you know. So I'll just say, you know, just keep loving it. I love the people, man. I'm not worried about any of this stuff. I love the people.
No, but you got people that's crazy that people already walk up to you, Charles, and say that they saw you. And sadly, people want not what you had, but just who you are. Or don't want you to succeed and just don't like you because of how you move and how you walk and all those things. So I mean, it's sad because you have these things on a local level, inner city level, then a state, then countrywide, then international. So a lot of people that's, you know, they're not exempt, especially now with the social media platforms that we have.
Yeah.
Monica, she just brought it up. Nipsey Hussle thought he was a man of the people too.
That's real too. Yeah.
And it's sad because people still want to support their communities and connect with them and be a part and still be that same person that they were when they were a regular citizen. And it's just now the society that we live in, some people are just evil, and then some people, they really need help. And then when it comes to the mental health support and resources that we have out here in minority communities and all that, which is a whole other discussion, it's not there like it should be. So it's just sad. I really hope that I'm almost certain that she's going to put up, like, you know, those guardrails and all that to where nobody can get to her like that, especially since you got those babies.
Yeah, shout out to Rihanna. Leave Rihanna alone, please. Leave Rihanna alone.
Yes. All right, I'm your girl Lauren Sizzle, and that was the Sizzle.
And that was the Sizzle, ladies and gentlemen. We talk weeklies after the talk on WPPM up Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We talk weeklies after the talk. I'm your boy Charles Gregory, the beautiful
Lauren Sizzle,
and the beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
And this was We Talk Weekly, y'all. We'll see y'all on the other.
I wanted to say this one last thing. I guess that our next show, or we'll have to come back to the mayor's budget address because there was a question asked. We can talk about that, you know.
I mean, if you want to mention it, go ahead. Because I feel like that's relevant. So you want to talk?
Oh, it was a question asked. It was a comment that was made in our comments a little earlier before I went into the sizzle. But
Let
we
me
can
see.
talk
No,
about
go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Talk about it. It's fine. You know, it's for the people. So
well, I mean, it's a lot of people that are just pretty much like on the fence with the budget address, and I think it was supposed to be like 6.7 or something like that, or was it? I forget what it was originally, but now it's more money, and people are just like they're not really agreeing with the budget and like the things that she's asking for. Some people are saying like, yeah, you have this budget, but you really don't have like an economic plan or like a real operating budget or something like that. So I heard a lot of complaints about it. I was on the Temple University did the mayoral budget address watch party, which was really cool because I kind of had to be at work and I couldn't be there. So that was nice. It was a lot of comments and information about that, and yeah. So we can have another discussion about that.
Yeah, because I definitely want to dig
Oh
deep
yeah,
in.
you did mention the Uber. Remember you were talking about that?
Yeah.
Uber rides and stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely have a problem with that too. Oh, here it go right here. What do y'all think about the mayor's budget address? All right, cool. I just found it. Yeah, I mean,
We
I didn't
definitely
get a
talk
chance.
about it on our next show.
Yeah, because I didn't dig deep into it. Lauren was tasked for that, and so
And I also think because of the sugar hike that they did supposedly with school, I think because it was so, when I say accepted, it was like people just say, what can we do about it? And they do nothing. And because of that, and it stayed there, I think that they feel like there's a lot of things that they can start to do in the sake of for the community when you don't see any move within the community.
all of these budgets don't benefit the community. I'm tired of people saying like it's no budget. Like even, and I'm gonna leave it at this, but even
And minimum wage stays the same.
That's the point. That's what I'm saying. So you talk about all this budget and then you still got minimum wage. Listen, how much sense does it make to say minimum wage isn't even $15 an hour, but you proposed a plan for affordable housing that people can't afford? Man.
Yeah, that's what they said. Affordable housing for who?
For who? That's what I'm saying. $250,000 isn't affordable. And a lot of these quote unquote turnkey, because I've been following this, I was thinking about, then I'm like, wait, how can someone afford on, say, for example, if you want to talk about the reason why the workers went on strike and we seen all the trash and garbage that was on the streets and they was just, asking for a couple dollars. How can they actually afford one of these affordable houses? I want somebody to answer that, because you have a lot of people on like fighting to defend the BS. Like, come on, man. Like,
yeah. There was a lot of people that really weren't happy with the budget address. It was almost, was it over 2 hours? It was really long, and it was kind of giving the State of the Union for me. And then there was a lot of people that were, I guess, just kind of on the fence about like this. It just doesn't make sense, and they're like, what is being proposed? It doesn't even seem like it's feasible. Like number one being the affordable housing, and then just
no, it's separating. It's a classist. Like this, Philadelphia has become very classist. And if you are under a potential income bracket, you're in trouble, right? And if you're in the middle, you don't benefit. So the middle class don't benefit from any of this, right? And we know what's going on with the right. So if you got a couple dollars, then you're good, so to speak. But it's separating. Is truly the interesting thing is you have the lower class right here, the middle class right here, and the upper class up here. And so the upper class getting all the bricks. You have some of the lower class with some of the benefits, but then people that just a little bit above the, that's not considered impoverished, they in trouble. They can't afford food. They're not getting any benefits. They can't do anything. And this is just, and unfortunately, it looks like Philadelphia is leaning more towards a classist system where it only benefits the people, the wealthy, or the people with money, right? It's even taking away resources from the poor. In this whole thing, you have predatory lending, predatory, this whole thing with PPA that no one, just for some reason, never want to talk about. I don't understand. Nobody want to touch this PPA thing. They promise money to the schools. I've never seen. They promised. They literally could take your car and sell it, and then you still, like, none of this stuff makes sense. And it's like, yo, come on, you make it. And then it seems as our mayor still is okay with that, because when she was talking about when they tried to put the arena in Center City, primarily destroying Chinatown, her biggest I guess her go-to for how we're going to minimize this is befriending PPA, or we're going to have PPA all. What?
Can you imagine the money they would amass from that being there, and just like how much you can get for parking and how many tickets, and oh man.
Yeah, we don't look all of this. See, Monica always been on because she in them streets, man. She's listening to the people. She's she's active. We must show up at City Hall and discussions. Man, look, and we still don't have a permanent bus terminal. See,
Yeah, down Filbert,
and they're supposed to be bringing it back just in time for what?
250, right? Or the what's the football thing, the soccer, the FIFA World Cup. This is, and not only that, guess what else is happening? The baseball, this is the not the Hall of Fame, baseball. Oh gosh, I forgot the name of it.
I know what you're talking about.
But they're coming too. All this is this summer, man, and it just seemed like it's nothing but trying to generate money that's not going to the citizens, man. It's not going to community, and it's starting to be really frustrating. And it's harder for me to be quiet about it because we're the people who suffering from it, and everybody else is getting on a break. Yeah,
it started when Nutter started to make Philadelphia like, tourist attraction and like, wanting to bring people in the city, and just started to be like, all right,
but we're closing schools though. You have students who are showing up to these meetings, fighting to keep their schools open. Where is this?
The kids, and these are schools in areas where people are still thriving and living, and saying, hey, we have enough students to go to this school, but they're doing it in the affordable housing.
Oh gosh, it was the All-Star game.
Like a wrap-up. It's not like a wrap-up show tonight.
This is frustrating, man. But you have people still advocating and supporting the nonsense, and like I said, if you like it, I love it. It's just not okay though, and somebody has to call a spade, and it's not all right, man. It's a lot of money that's being spent, and it's a lot of money circulating that we have nothing to do with. We have to start saying, where is the money going and why certain communities are being targeted, right? We're spending a budget. Was anything in the budget about fixing these streets?
I think she did have something in there for.
I hit a pothole every other block. It's a sinkhole right on Walnut Street. I don't know if y'all know. Right on Walnut, like 50, maybe 6, 55th, 56, no, 57, 56 in Walnut, no, like 58th and 57th in Walnut. There's a huge sinkhole.
Well, you can call 311.
They don't do nothing. Like, that's why they say they slow walk fixing that. Right. I have a huge problem with PPA, man. I really do. Something has said. Look, And they said, look, guess who will probably manage the PPA? Look, I believe sinkhole she talking about. Yeah, I believe they get a bonus every time there is another sinkhole. They probably do. PPA will manage the temporary terminal and collect that money too. See what is? I need someone to give me a background of the PPA because I want to know why they have so much power.
I think they're their own governing entity.
Right, but who has oversight over PPA?
So I think it's the state. I'm trying to remember.
So if there's no oversight over PPA, then where is
police and PPA?
Right.
The police department got internal affairs. Who's their internal affairs that's looking over them? And here's something else, and I don't know if y'all know this, but now when your car gets towed in the city of Philadelphia, you no longer just owe money on that vehicle. You owe money on your license, not that license plate, the license. So if you got a car A and car A had tickets on it, car A gets impounded or they tow it. You buy car B, you're driving, nothing is on car B. When you park, if they run your license plate and it goes to your license, car B is getting impounded because of the tickets that was on car A. Did y'all follow?
So Monica said this is a 6-person appointed board by.
I was just getting ready to say that. Yeah.
So I need to be on that board. I need to be on. So we're talking governor now, right? So
it's the governor of PA.
So we need to be talking about why the PPA has. It seems that there's no oversight and why it seems there, because every other day I'm seeing another street now that you have to pay for parking. How is this happening on public streets that people live on? I'm not understanding.
Well, here's the thing. They have regular board meetings. So you need to show up at the board meetings.
I need to be there.
Yes. They are held in person at PPA headquarters and virtually, I guess. We were on the board of directors for Philly Cam if they operate the same way as it's sunshine law, so that we should be able to attend. It should be open to the public. You should be able to go. But they do have regular board meetings, and we should be able to see.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you watch this and you know the information on, I need to be on. I need to start going to these board meetings. Can somebody help me out? Let me know when, where, and how. I need to be on there. Someone needs to be advocating for. It's getting worse. It's getting worse.
Yeah, because the members that are on here, the 6 members, some of their terms end in 2030. 2031, 2032.
2030.
So whatever decisions they're making, if you're looking around at what's going on now, these lights popping up, these the ticket lights, and the cost going up for tickets, for the violations and all that stuff and everything going on. If they're the ones making these decisions, they're going to be on this board for 20, 30, 31, 32. Is it going to continue? I'm just saying.
Oh, look, see, this is why Monica, I'm trying to tell you. Look at that. Shout out to Monica. Shout out to Monica. I need to screenshot this. But there you have Philadelphia Park Authority PPA holds regular board meetings at 10 a.m. in the executive office boardroom on the 5th floor of their headquarters at 701 Market Street. Suit fit. I am going. I swear I'm going. And then they said, fantastic. Shout out to Monica for this. This is why we love the people who, when we talk weekly, they are true people of the community. They do the work. Only people who do this is people who do the work. Monica does the work. She's been doing the work for a long time. Shout out to Monica from the CDC. Monica has been doing the work for a long time. And she needs, and I won't just partially get on my soapbox. We should have ended the show a long time ago. But when someone says, who do you who should get the credit or who should get the flowers for advocacy work or policy movement or things that's happening in the community? And so often the only people who we look at is, oh, the mayor or Congress or city council. No, it's Miss Johnson. It's Miss Johnson. It's people like Monica. It's people who are like, your leaders on the block that don't necessarily have titles, that's doing the work every day. But then you have people that get into leadership roles, act like they have all the answers, and remove these people who have been doing the work, and now they create a larger problem. I ain't gonna say no names, but yeah, because there's a lot of people doing the work in shout out to Kensington, shout out to the Sunshine House, shout out to all those people who's doing the work in Kensington. These are the people that I like. These are the people who I like to have on the show. You know how many times I was asked, how come we have these people on the show? We should have more celebrities. And I don't care about them. I do a little bit, but I care more about my folks, because these are people that I see every day that can do exactly what Monica just did. And I said, can someone help me? I need to make, can somebody copy this for me? Because I need to start going to these meetings. And it's real. So shout out to Monica for doing the work. And I appreciate you also, Monica, for tuning in to We Talk Weekly and supporting us, because I see that you've been on here more and more lately. But I just want to take this time to thank my community, man. Thank all y'all for supporting We Talk Weekly. Thank all y'all for the hard work that y'all do, and know that you are being seen. You are recognized by us. You are recognized. If no one ever told you that, We Talk Weekly appreciate you, the people. I had somebody walk up to me not too long ago, returning citizen, didn't know that he could even vote. And guess how he found out that he could vote? He watched the episode of We Talk Weekly. That's big for me. That gives me the validation that what we're doing here every day is worth it. So I thank you for that. All right, I'm off my soapbox. Can we go now, or we still gonna talk about the budget address next time? But yeah, because that way I'm sure you'll have a rundown of everything. I wonder if they got do they got minutes or notes from that?
I will share the link, because there was like the video was like a whole 2 hours. But yeah, I know there's probably like notes and
yeah, we need to like break it down and give points of it.
Yeah, but it still has to be passed, so we'll probably continue this discussion for.
Hopefully it don't pass. We don't need no more budgets for nothing. We don't need no more money for nothing else unless you dumping it back in the community, man. I don't want to see nothing else built. I don't want to see none of these streets blocked off anymore unless you fixing them. They still got dirty water pipes. Ain't nobody talking about that, man. When the last time you drunk out your spigot? What happened to the plastic? Remember, there was this big thing on stop plastic. Like, this is just, none of this makes sense to me, man. Like, what? Anyway, yeah, that part. I'll get on my soapbox again, so we need this in. All right, y'all. So this your boy Charles Gregory with the beautiful,
Classy Lady Sparkle,
and the beautiful
Lawrence Sizzle.
And this is We Talk Weekly, after the talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weekly, and we appreciate all y'all who've been watching, following. And if y'all have any comments, if y'all have anything that y'all want us to talk about, if you know somebody that needs to be interviewed, or you know somebody that we need to advocate for, we need to be on a block. And Monica, since you're here, you didn't give me the information or follow up with me. We were supposed to show up on one of those town halls, I think, for the candidates. Keep sending me the information though. Like, anybody who's watching, you can send information to wetalkweekly@gmail.com. If it's something you believe we need to show up for, if you know something that people are not getting the information. I don't remember. I didn't remember seeing that, Monica. But yeah, just, you got my number too. Make sure I get this information. You in them streets, man. If it's something you feel like We Talk Weekly need to show up on, let us know. We outside. Catch us outside. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be at Juneteenth. We're gonna cover Juneteenth. You can watch it on We Talk Weekly. They just asked Sonny. Sonny actually came by the studio, did an interview on what We Talk Weekly covered again. So we'll stream it off of We Talk Weekly. So you go to wetalkweekly.com and see the actual Juneteenth parade. We were there last year. People love the coverage that we did, and we're gonna be there again. Hopefully it's not that hot. We gotta make sure we got our water and ice. Make sure we got our water and ice. It's a long day, y'all, so make sure I prepare for that. But other than that, anything else that's coming up and We Talk Weekly will be there. We'll make sure that y'all know, so y'all can come by, tell us hi, and jump on the mic with us. You know, it's real quick. We about the community. That's what we do. We love what we do. All right, y'all. We out here like last year, y'all. Peace.